Chapter 1367. If Feng Guichen had released his spiritual sense as usual before entering the city, he would definitely have been able to confirm that Jun Changshao and Rose of Flowers were the couple he was looking for from the clues given by City Lord Lu. Why? Because Go Sheng had disguised himself as a weakling again. As for Rose of Flowers, she had once again put on that unbreakable black robe, covering her devastatingly beautiful face. What a pity. Feng Guichen was mentally tired and didn't have much hope. So after coming to the city, he only wanted to rest and then return to the alchemy hall to study pills. He thought that the two would pass by each other again, but just as he was about to set off the next day, an extremely special medicinal aura gushed out from the market. Feng Guichen's mind shook and ecstasy appeared on his face, because the aura was exactly the same as the one he smelled in Lin Yuan City. So, he hurried in the direction of the aura and finally found the weak young man in the medicinal shop. He searched for him thousands of times in the crowd, but when he turned around, that person was at the counter of the shop. Schwa! Feng Guichen strode in, and when the two sides were about to reach a deal, he directly pressed the space ring and said something that made Jun Changshao determined to make friends. I'll buy these medicinal herbs for 5 million. These few simple words made his back look like it had special effects. The shopkeeper's face changed. A deal was about to be completed, but someone suddenly barged in and even wanted to buy it at a high price. It was definitely against the rules, so he said in a deep voice, "Friend, you're being unreasonable." "Yes." Jun Changshao said, "I've already talked to the shopkeeper, you can't, 6 million. Feng Guichen increased the price again, his tone really swallowing mountains and rivers, making Jun Changshao want to hug his thigh and say, "Brother, can you add me on WeChat?" "Shopkeeper." Go Sheng said awkwardly, "You see." He paused and gave a look that said, "Why don't you increase the price too?" The shopkeeper said with a pale face, "Friend, we have to pay attention to first come, first served when doing business. Your behavior of not following the market price is a bit too much." "Too much?" Feng Guichen slammed a spatial ring on the counter and said, "Little brother, there are 7 million profound stones in here. I'll take all 50,000 of your herbs. Another 1 million. He was really a super rich person. Jun Changshao looked calm on the surface, but he was so happy that he wanted to fly. When he was selling the herbs, he had expected the price to be 2 million. Now, it had increased by several times. Stay calm and steady. This seemed to be a man who did not lack money. Perhaps there was room for him to raise the price. Therefore, Jun Changshao took back the spatial ring that contained the medicinal ingredients and said rather helplessly, "Shopkeeper, I also hope to make a deal with you, but the price they offered is a little too high. If you really want it, why don't you?" There were some things that didn't need to be said too thoroughly, because that would be meaningless. The shopkeeper didn't go on his way. He kept a straight face as he looked at the black-robed middle-aged man who had appeared out of nowhere. He said coldly, "Friend, my Lin's medicinal herb shop has been operating in the upper realm for thousands of years. I've never seen anyone trying to steal my business." "All right then." Jun Changshao understood. This guy didn't want to raise the price anymore and even moved out of the store. Isn't business about selling to whoever offers more money? What? Are you going to force me to sell? Feng Guichen said indifferently. Logically speaking, he was at a disadvantage. After all, this was the Lin's medicinal herb shop. It was a little against the rules to suddenly cut him off with a high price. However, in a world where martial arts were respected, who would talk reason with you? Not to mention, Feng Guichen was also the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall. "Dear customer." The shopkeeper placed a spatial ring that contained magnetite on the counter and said, "There are 2 million magnetite inside. Please complete the transaction according to the previous agreement." Jun Changshao helplessly spread his hands and said, "I'm really sorry, but I don't plan to sell it. One was 2 million, the other was 7 million. As long as his head wasn't kicked by a donkey, he would know who to sell it to. Did you hear that? Feng Guichen said, he doesn't want to do business with you. He wants to do business with me. The shopkeeper's eyes gradually turned cold. Then, he raised his hand and clapped a few times. Suddenly, two revolving core realm experts appeared in front of the door. Jun Changshao was on the verge of collapse. As expected, someone as low-key as him was afraid of trouble coming to his door. The shopkeeper said coldly, "Dear customer, doing business requires credibility. I hope you can abide by it." Saying so, he looked at Feng Guichen and said, "I'm afraid you're here to cause trouble." "Cause trouble?" The chief alchemist of the alchemy hall rubbed his nose and said with a smile, "If you insist on thinking so, then I won't explain. You dare to behave atrociously in my Lin's medicinal herb shop. You are truly audacious." After saying this, he shot a glance at the revolving core realm experts at the door. Shwa! Shwa! A powerful wave of qi swept over. They didn't target Jun Changshao. After all, he was the seller. Their target was Feng Guichen, who had come to cause trouble. However, just as the gathered power was about to attack, it suddenly came to a sudden stop. It was because the other party had raised his hand and revealed a strange metal. The two words, Alchemy Hall, were carved on it, and it was especially eye-catching and heart-wrenching. Alchemy. Alchemy Hall Grandmaster. The two revolving core realm masters' voices trembled as the aura they had gathered around them dissipated. Pa! Feng Guichen placed the metal on the counter before straightening his black robe and saying, "Inform Lin Zetian that I will take the people from the alchemy hall to the Lin family's headquarters to carefully and seriously check if the herbs sold are up to standard." Put on. The shopkeeper collapsed to the ground, his eyes filled with shock. The alchemy hall badge represented the identity of an absolute grandmaster. This was not something that could be faked, and since he called himself Feng Guichen, wasn't he one of the 8 chief alchemists of the alchemy hall? Jun Changshao, who was standing to the side, was also a little dumbfounded. Just revealing a badge had shocked the shopkeeper and the two revolving core realm masters on the spot. This guy's identity was definitely not simple. He was rich and had status. This was definitely a thick thigh that was even thicker than the Taishan elders. "Little brother." Feng Guichen said, "Let's go." "Yes, elder brother." Watching the two leave, the shopkeeper remained paralyzed on the ground as he howled in his heart, it's over, inside the inn. Jun Changshao pushed the spatial ring containing 2 million profound stones over and said seriously, "Old brother, it's a shame that we didn't meet sooner. We hit it off right away, so I won't take these profound stones no matter what. Little brother is a picky person." Feng Guichen took the profound stones and cupped his hands, "This Feng will not refuse. Holy shit. He really wants them." Jun Changshao almost slapped himself in the face with his slippers. Feng Guichen returned to the topic at hand, "Little brother, did you grow these herbs that have reached the level of heaven and earth treasures?" "This." Jun Changshao hesitated. Although the other party was rich and had status, one had to be cautious when roaming the world. Feng Guichen said, "Little brother, if you have any difficulties, just pretend this Feng never asked." "Elder brother, I won't hide it from you." Jun Changshao's expression suddenly turned serious, "These herbs were actually grown by my honored master. He lives in seclusion and does not care about the world, so I am the one who sells them." Chapter 1368. Honored Master. Feng Guichen did not show too much surprise. In his opinion, someone who could grow common herbs into treasures should be a hermit who did not care about the mortal world. "Little brother, can you tell me your honored master's name?" "This," Jun Changshao said hesitantly, "my honored master has a strange temper and has never told anyone his name. He only knows that whenever a visitor comes, he will call him Sage." "Sage?" Feng Guichen's eyes widened. Anyone who dared to use this name in the upper realm was definitely a big shot. For example, Gu Hongzhenren, or Zhenren Tonggu, these were all top masters above the realm hall. Little brother. Does your honored master have any hobbies? Feng Guochen was now eager to know what kind of person this sage was from the upper realm. Jun Changshao scratched his head and said, other than growing herbs when he has nothing to do, he seems to like researching flying warships. Feng Guochen's brain worked quickly, and then he matched the information with the sage he knew and instantly thought of something, blurting out, Zhenren Tonggu. Jun Changshao's face was expressionless as he thought to himself, he guessed it himself, I didn't say it. The system was speechless, can the host be any more obvious? That's not right. Feng Guochen held his chin and muttered to himself, I've never heard of Zhenren Tonggu researching herbs. Jun Changshao said seriously, my honored master has always been low-key. As he spoke, he took out the pocket-sized warship with the word ancient engraved on it and played with it in his hand. This was the ancient warship. There was a rumor in the upper realm that whoever inherited this warship would be the direct disciple of the ancient warship. Feng Guochen immediately dispelled the doubts in his heart and gave a, I understand, look, then said with deep respect, Zhenren Tonggu is one of the top masters in the upper realm. Little brother must be extraordinary to be able to become his disciple. It's all right. Jun Changshao scratched his head and said helplessly, Master calls me stupid every day. I only barely managed to enter the revolving core realm after cultivating for several decades. Listen, are you talking like a human? Feng Guochen's expression became complicated. Thinking about how he had taken several hundred years to enter the revolving core realm, compared to the other party who had taken several decades, this was simply, trash. AI. Jun Changshao sighed again and said, Shizhuan likes to travel the world. Before he left, he gave me the position of patriarch and ordered me to strengthen the sect in a short time. Feng Guochen was stunned, Zhenren Tonggu established a sect. Why haven't I heard of it? Master has always kept a low profile. Understood. Feng Guochen cupped his fists and said, it turns out that little brother is also a sect master, please forgive my disrespect. Heh. Jun Changshao smiled bitterly and said, although I'm a patriarch, I'm in charge of a mediocre sect. I have no status in the upper realm at all. Anyone can come and trample on me. You're too modest. Feng Guochen said, with your identity as Zhenren Tonggu's direct disciple, even those old fogies of the realm hall will have to call you little brother. The hell? Zhenren Tonggu was so powerful. Little brother, Feng Guochen asked, what is your sect called? It was not hard to see from his eyes and words that he was trying to get close to him. The strongest sect of all time. The corner of Feng Guochen's mouth twitched slightly as he thought to himself, this name is a bit, as expected of Zhenren Tonggu, even the sect he established is so domineering. Brother, do you have time to visit my sect? Of course. Under Jun Changshao's persuasion, Feng Guochen developed a strong interest in the sect established by Zhenren Tonggu, so he followed him to the immemorial Immortal Mountain, the road of no return. On the way, he looked at the woman in a black robe similar to his and praised, little brother and your wife are truly a match made in heaven. Rose of Flowers smiled politely, feeling very happy inside. Although Jun Changshao was very depressed, he did not explain. If it was a misunderstanding, then so be it. He was used to it anyway. Immemorial Immortal Mountain. Arriving at the Immemorial Immortal Mountain, Feng Guochen looked at the words carved on the mountain peak and asked in confusion, it used to be called Phoenix Perch Immortal Mountain, right? When did it change its name? Wait. Wasn't the heavenly vision and the mountain flying out of the whirlpool that everyone was talking about recently? Could it be, Feng Guochen said in surprise, little brother, could it be that your sect was created by breaking through the 10,000 tribulation heavenly thunder array? N. Jun Changshao nodded. Feng Guochen gave him a thumbs up, as expected of Zhenren Tonggu's disciple, the things you do are admirable. You flatter me, brother. Walking to the stairs of the sect, Jun Changshao stretched out his hand and said, Please. Please. Under the personal guidance of Go Sheng, Feng Guichen walked to the entrance and successfully entered the sect of all times, which was protected by the purple cloud star form array. During the whole process, he did not notice the existence of the array at all, because it was hidden too well. Because the entire mountain was brought up, the sect of all times, which had been remodeled by Li Qingyang several times, was perfectly preserved. Especially with the rich heaven and earth attribute, it really gave off a majestic feeling. Not bad, not bad. Feng Guichen praised, little brother's sect is very grand. Unfortunately, its overall strength is too weak, Jun Changshao said helplessly. Feng Guichen said, little brother, there is no need to be depressed. After all, you just ascended. As long as you work hard, you will become a top sect in the upper world sooner or later. This was not a deliberate compliment, because in his opinion, with Zhenren Tonggu as a backer, there was definitely great potential. Ga. Suddenly, Feng Guichen stopped. His eyes locked onto the low-lying area shrouded in dense qi at the foot of the mountain and said in surprise, little brother, is this the medicine field used to grow herbs? Yes. Jun Changshao nodded. Incredible, incredible. Feng Guichen said in shock, little brother, the heaven and earth attribute gathered in this medicine field is something this Feng has never seen before. Jun Changshao smiled, old brother seems to have a deep understanding of herbs. No, no. Feng Guichen said, I know a little. I heard the shopkeeper say that old brother is from the alchemy hall. N. What kind of organization is that? Simply put, it's an organization related to pills and herbs. Old brother knows alchemy. When it came to herbs, Feng Guichen was more or less afraid. After all, the honored master of the person in front of him could grow the powerful heavenly extreme emperor grass, which was something he could not compare to. However, when it came to pills, he was confident, so he held his head high and said, I know a little. He knew a little twice, but because of his tone, they had completely different meanings. Ha! Jun Changshao sighed, my sect of all times lacks an alchemist like old brother who knows a little. Here's the main point. The system said. Feng Guichen also heard this and muttered in his heart, this guy isn't trying to recruit me, is he? Hoo. While he was thinking, an indescribable special aura suddenly rushed over from the distance, startling him and Jun Changshao to look up. Xiu, suddenly, the invisible sect protection formation trembled slightly and rippled slightly. Then, it seemed to have lost its effect. A white-haired old man with an immortal aura hovered above the main hall with an amiable smile on his face. The expression on Jun Changshao's face gradually collapsed. The purple heaven star form array he had painstakingly arranged had not played a defensive role and had been easily broken by someone else. At that moment, Feng Guichen cried out in shock, Senior Tonggu. Ga. The expression on Jun Changshao's face stiffened. Afterwards, a fraction of a second later, he yelled out with a voice that was close to howling, Master. Chapter 1369. Jun Changshao, who had been about to point his finger at the newcomer and curse when he heard Feng Guichen's exclamation, quickly changed his expression and called out, Honored Master. What a godly reaction. The system said in admiration, there's a reason why the host can be so shameless. However, the shout of Honored Master stunned Jinren Tonggu, who had just arrived. He thought to himself, this guy knows I'm here to take him as a disciple. Did he call me in advance? He had made a bet with the black figure earlier. They would each teach a disciple within a set time, and then fight to determine the winner. Jinren Tonggu was a lonely old man. Not only did he not have a wife or children, but he had also never taken a disciple, so he definitely wanted twilight. After thinking for a while, he finally locked onto Jun Changshao, mainly because he had seen him resist thousands of lightning tribulations and bring his sect to the upper realm. As a result, Jinren Tonggu came to the immortal mountain and easily broke the purple firmament star formation, but before he could say what he was here for, he was directly called out by the other party. It was a bit unexpected. This was not surprising. Go Xing hasn't touched your porcelain for a day or two. Today, he suddenly came over, so he would definitely hug your thick thigh. Ha ha ha. Jinren Tonggu laughed, good disciple, good disciple. He had originally planned to take in a disciple, and since he recognized him as soon as they met, it saved him the complicated process of becoming a disciple. It was hard to imagine that a shameless person who was eager to scam others would so easily establish a master-disciple relationship with such a thick thigh. His sloppiness made one's hair stand on end. As expected. He really is Jinren Tonggu's disciple. Feng Guo-chen, who was a bit doubtful at first, was completely convinced after seeing one call him honored master and the other call him good disciple. Jinren Tonggu looked over and said in surprise, you seem to be one of the 8 chief alchemists of the alchemy hall, Feng Guo-chen. That's right. Feng Guo-chen hurriedly saluted and said respectfully, it is this junior. He was able to recognize Jinren Tonggu at a glance, not because of the token on his waist, but because he had been lucky enough to see him from afar when he had participated in an event with the Pill Hall's Hall Master. Master. Jun Changshao said, Brother Feng wants to join a sect. Feng Guo-chen's eyes bulged, when did I say that? However, Jinren Tonggu was present, especially when he sensed the powerful aura that was not deliberately released. He hurriedly said, I'm afraid I'm not qualified. Jinren Tonggu glanced at the sect of all times and said, they resisted the thunder formation of 10,000 tribulations and ascended to the upper world. They are a sect with great potential. Feng Guo-chen thought to himself, is Senior Tonggu implying that I should join the sect and assist his disciple? If Senior Tonggu doesn't mind, this junior is willing to join the sect of all times and assist Jun Patriarch. He hurriedly declared. Since the big shot had spoken, how could he not obey? Moreover, it was impossible to encounter such a top expert in the past. Why would this old master mind? Jinren Tonggu said. The meaning behind his words was that he had nothing to do with the sect of all times, so whether or not Feng Guo-chen joined had nothing to do with him. Not only did Feng Guo-chen not understand this meaning, he even began to imagine that Senior Tonggu would agree to his joining the sect, so he hurriedly cupped his fists and said, Senior values me highly, this junior will definitely assist you with all his strength. Master. Jun Changshao was worried that if the two continued talking, their previous bragging would be exposed, so he interrupted, it's rare for you to come, this disciple will order people to prepare wine and food. No need. Jinren Tonggu said, I came here to tell you to cultivate well and fight for your master in 10 years. Fight for your master. Jun Changshao was dumbfounded. It's like this. Jinren Tonggu explained, I made a bet with that old man Gu Hong. 10 years later, both sides will send disciples to fight at the immeasurable immortal mountain to determine the winner. Jun Changshao's mouth twitched. At this moment, he finally understood why this mysterious expert had come to the Eternal Sect. It turned out that, he was here to give him a mission. Master, who is the opponent? How strong is he? You will know in 10 years at the immeasurable immortal mountain. It wasn't that Jinren Tonggu didn't want to tell him, but that he didn't know who the so-called child of the plain that old man Gu Hong had recruited was. Understood. Jun Changshao said seriously, this disciple will definitely not disappoint master. As for... He paused, then said, can you give this disciple a few tens of millions of immortal stones first? So that I can cultivate in peace for 10 years? Feng Guo-chen's mouth twitched. If it was profound stones, it wouldn't be a big deal, but a few tens of millions of the best immortal stones was a huge number. As expected of the disciple of an expert, he dared to ask for so much. Jinren Tonggu was also dumbfounded by Go Xing's words. He had just established a master-disciple relationship, and he was already asking for a few tens of millions of immortal stones. My disciple's skin is a bit thick. Of course. Jun Changshao grinned and said, it would be even better if you could give this disciple 800 immortal-grade martial arts, equipment, and so on. Jinren Tonggu's expression became interesting. I have to correct my thoughts. He's not a bit thick, he's thick-skinned to begin with. Disciple. Jinren Tonggu said seriously, Master leads the way, but cultivation depends on the individual. How strong you can become in 10 years is still up to you. That's true, but... Jun Changshao suddenly stopped talking, because Jinren Tonggu had disappeared from the hall, and a voice came from afar, Disciple, Master is leaving. Holy shit! You took me, the most handsome disciple in history, as your disciple, and left without even leaving 100 immortal stones. How irresponsible! After Jinren Tonggu left, the aura that seemed to be suppressed by the heavenly Tao in the sect gradually dissipated, and Feng Guichen was finally able to breathe normally again. To be able to stand firm in front of a top powerhouse, I speak for myself, I am proud of myself. He's gone, Senior Tonggu has left. The black and white double killers on Dragon's Pine Peak also let out a long sigh of relief, especially when they thought about how they were lucky enough to meet an expert. It was simply, too fortunate. Unfortunately, they weren't able to speak to him, and they weren't able to let him know that they had been assisting Jun Changshao with all their might since the lower realm. Big black idiot. White Rakshasa said seriously, did you hear what Senior Tonggu said just now? I heard. Black Rakshasa said. What did he say? Resisting the 10,000 tribulation heavenly thunder formation and ascending to the upper realm, this was a sect with a lot of potential. In fact, this was just something Jinren Tonggu said casually, but in the eyes of these two people, it contained a different level of meaning. White Rakshasa said, we will definitely assist the Patriarch with all our might, and we definitely won't disappoint Senior Tonggu. That old man just now, Yi Xingqian, who was standing by the window in the room, still couldn't calm down and said, very strong. Jinren Tonggu's sudden arrival shocked the entire sect, and both the higher-ups and the disciples were deeply shocked. After all, just one look at him gave off an unfathomable feeling. However, the calmest person was still Hiwudi. After noticing Jinren Tonggu, he didn't show any emotion, and even had a playful smile on his face. This old man was a bit weak. Chapter 1370. Sigh. Hiwudi sighed, his eyes filled with sadness. Back then, in order to pursue a higher realm, he was besieged by many experts and suffered serious injuries. His level was reset to 0, which was quite tragic. It's not bad to start all over again. At least, I can discover the flaws that I didn't discover before. Hiwudi consoled himself, and his sadness gradually dissipated. His experience was very similar to Yi Xingqian's. They both went from having something to nothing, but because of their personalities, they had always kept a low profile after joining the sect of all times. Other than his duty of closing and opening the door, Hiwudi could be considered one of the few normal disciples in the sect. If one had to find a flaw, it would be that he liked to imagine things, because, moreover, Hiwudi thought, this is the sect created by Senior Qishuan. I can become a disciple because of my luck. He couldn't be blamed for imagining things. The main reason was that Jun Changshao was too good at deceiving people, especially with the complete 7 profound sunglow break. This martial art created by the 7 profound sage was divided into 7 fragments and scattered in various universes. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find them all. Regretfully, Jun Changshao found them, easily bought them. Speaking of the 7 profound sunglow break, Hiwudi also felt regretful. The 7 fragments were all copies, and he had never seen the original. Back then, when he went to snatch the martial art left by the 7 profound sage, he was besieged by various experts because it contained profound meaning that could lead to the sage realm. I've just entered the peak of Wuxia, and I'm still very far from my previous cultivation. Even if I can see the original, it's difficult to see the profound realm. Woody sorted out his emotions and focused on cultivation again. Because he was forced to sneak into the lower realm, his level was reset to 0. However, he faced it with the mentality of going with the flow. Yi Xingqian, who remembered his hatred, couldn't be compared to him. In the main hall, Jun Changshao handed over the entry form and said seriously, "Brother Feng, joining the sect of all times is like adding wings to a tiger." Feng Guichen's face fell. "I really came here as a guest. How did I end up joining the sect?" "Of course," Jun Changshao said seriously, "I won't treat Brother Feng unfairly. The position of Hall Master of the Medicinal Pill Hall has already been prepared. The sect of all times had its own medical hall, which was usually responsible for medical treatment and herbs, but it had never had a hall related to alchemy. Feng Guichen's addition had undoubtedly filled this gap. Sigh. Since he had already promised Senior Tong Gu, he definitely couldn't go back on his word. As a result, this chief alchemist from the Alchemy Hall was successfully tricked by Jun Changshao into becoming the Alchemy Hall's hall master. For now, with the enhanced elixir pavilion and the one-button mechanical refinement, his position as the hall master of the elixir hall was almost dispensable. But in any case, if a sect did not have an alchemy hall, it would be incomplete, so the arrival of Feng Guichen was tantamount to injecting the soul of the alchemy hall into the sect. Moreover, there was an upgraded version of the smithing pavilion in the system. Wasn't Master Fan the master of the smithing pavilion? Furthermore, ever since he joined the sect, he hadn't been slacking off. He had been studying smithing and had even modified his personal divine weapon. In short, those who joined the sect of all times were all talented people. As the patriarch, Jun Changshao definitely wouldn't let a talented person sit around doing nothing. Even if he couldn't refine elixirs, he would arrange for other work. Brother Feng, our sect has just started in the upper realm. Firstly, we don't have the money, and secondly, we don't have the materials. So, I'll have to trouble you to study herbs with Elder Wei for now. If you really can't do it, you can switch careers and become an alchemist." The corner of Feng Guichen's mouth twitched. "I'm the dignified chief alchemist of the Alchemy Hall, but I have to switch careers and become an alchemist. That's really embarrassing." "Elder Wei," Jun Changshao said, "you can take Hall Master Feng to visit the elixir field." "Yes." Elder Wei stood up and said, "Hall Master Feng, this way please." Although Feng Guichen was very depressed, since he had joined the sect, he naturally had to listen to the patriarch. So, he went to the elixir field. When he picked up the nourishing soil and smelled the heaven and earth attribute it contained, he exclaimed, "How fragrant! I get it, I get it. Being able to grow the celestial emperor grass into a heaven and earth treasure must be closely related to the soil here." Hall Master Feng. Elder Wei smiled and said, "I'm new here and don't know much about the upper realms herbs. I hope you can give me some pointers in the future." Hall Master Wei is too polite. Feng Guichen said, "To be able to manage such a large elixir field in such an orderly manner, this Feng should be the one asking for pointers." Hall Master Feng. At this time, Jun Changshao sent a message, "Elder Wei is very good at relationships. If you have any emotional troubles, you can ask him." "Is that so?" A trace of surprise flashed across Feng Guichen's eyes as he thought, Patriarch was able to marry such a beautiful wife. Could it be that he asked Elder Wei for help? Recruiting a technical talent who understood alchemy and was also the chief alchemist of the Alchemy Hall, Jun Changshao was very pleased. However, just as he sat down in his study, he began to think about Jinren Tonggu again. 10 years. Fighting on behalf of his master. This kind of plot that usually belongs to disciples actually appeared in a patriarch like me. It seems a bit interesting, Jun Changshao muttered to himself. Aha! At this moment, a yawn came from the room and the eyelids of Huolong, who was lying in its nest, twitched before it slowly opened its eyes. The little guy is awake. Jun Changshao's eyes flashed with excitement, but when he saw Huolong's skin suddenly turn red, he picked it up without saying a word and ran out like a mad dog with its tongue sticking out. Hoo! Hoo hoo hoo! As soon as they walked out of the courtyard, a scorching flame suddenly erupted. Every time Huolong woke up from its deep sleep, it would cause such a commotion, so this disciple was not surprised when he discovered it and instead walked out as usual to dry his quilt in the flames. What's going on? Feng Guichen, who was discussing emotional issues with Elder Wei, hurriedly walked out of the medical hall and saw the flames on Dragon Head Peak, his eyes filled with surprise. The black and white Rakshasa of Dragon Spine Peak were also surprised. They had never experienced Huolong waking up from its deep sleep, so they were puzzled by the sudden appearance of Huolong. Rose of Flowers was also alarmed. She walked out of the courtyard and saw the rising flames, asking in surprise, "Husband, what's wrong?" "Don't speak," Jun Changshao said. "Oh." Rose of Flowers stood to the side and watched, and when she felt that the flames were becoming purer and purer, the surprise in her heart became stronger and stronger. Hoo hoo! At this moment, the scorching flames suddenly expanded, and a spiraling shadow gradually condensed from the flames. "This is," Feng Guichen was surprised, "a dragon?" In terms of form, it was indeed very similar to a dragon beast. "Is it about to evolve into a complete form?" Jun Changxiao's lips curled into a smile. He had learned from the Purple King that Huolong was the noblest five-clawed dragon of the dragon race, although there was a small accident due to the mutation. Xiao. Affected by the external scorching flames, Xiaohua flew out of Jun Changxiao's dantian and then transformed into a cute child, excitedly saying, "Father, what a pure fire attribute." "Father?" Rose of Flowers felt like she had been struck by lightning and was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 1371. Rose of Flowers was stunned by the sudden appearance of a 4- or 5-year-old boy who happily called Jun Changxiao father. He had a child. He had a son. When did this happen? Jun Changxiao was used to Huoling calling him father, so he didn't think too much about it and still focused on the hot flame. If they were talking about a son, the little dragon was more like it. After all, he hatched it himself, and the feelings they had built over the years were very deep. "Father," Xiaohua said excitedly, "can I eat it?" "No." Jun Changxiao refused directly. "Oh." Xiaohua answered rather dejectedly, then looked back at the dazed Rose of Flowers and smiled, "Father, is she mother?" Bang! Jun Changxiao threw a punch and said, "Call her auntie." Xiaohua covered the bulge on his head, bared his teeth and shouted, "Hello, auntie." Rose of Flowers stared at him and said, "Whose child is this?" Jun Changxiao knew that she had misunderstood. He wanted to explain that it was the spirit of the fire spirit that he had gathered, but he thought, why should I explain? So he said lightly, "What does it have to do with you?" "You're such a scumbag." Doraemon said. "System." Rose of Flowers looked at him with a resentful gaze similar to Xixia fairies, then turned back to her courtyard and slammed the door shut. "Hey!" Jun Changxiao broke down and said, "Is the door made with money? You have to pay for it if it's broken." "Father." Xiaohua whispered, "Auntie seems to be angry. Shouldn't you apologize?" Jun Changxiao rolled his sexy eyes and said, "I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize?" Xiaohua stopped talking. Whoosh! At this moment, the hot flame rose again, and the dragon shadow that emerged became more and more real. Only then did Jun Changxiao shift his gaze away from the courtyard where Rose of Flowers lived. He then continued to watch the little dragonling's third evolution with a troubled heart. This time, it lasted longer. The disciples changed their bedding several times, but there was still no sign of it ending. The shock in the hearts of Feng Guichen and the black-white twin ghosts became more and more intense, because when the flames reached their peak, they began to give off an extremely powerful aura. "This is Dragon Might." Not only were there many sects in the upper realm, but there were also various races. The most representative race was the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan was not as numerous as the Human Clan, but in terms of combat power, they were definitely very strong. It was said that the strength of every Dragon Emperor was not inferior to the top powerhouses of the Human Clan. Now, there was such a strong aura of draconic might spreading from the flames. Could it be that there was a dragon inside? That's not right. This clan was used to occupying the territory of the Dragon Clan. Why would they appear in the sect? Roar! At this moment, the dragon shadow that was gradually materializing suddenly raised its head and roared. The draconic might that erupted from it became even more powerful, causing the entire sect of all times to tremble slightly. Shio! The hot and pure flames gradually dissipated under the dragon's roar, revealing a naked young man standing proudly. His hair, eyebrows, and eyes were fiery red, giving him an extremely evil appearance. This face was unfamiliar to Feng Guichen and the black-white twin ghosts, but it was very familiar to Jun Changshao because this was the appearance of Little Long Long in his second form. Although he no longer had the childishness of before, he was more mature. Master. The red-haired young man said, "This is my third form. Isn't it handsome?" Needless to say, after evolving, Little Long Long's voice had also changed, becoming more masculine than before. Compared to this king, you're still thousands of miles away, Jun Changshao said. Little Long Long was speechless. What's your current strength? Jun Changshao asked. Little Long Long scratched his head, and the cold aura suddenly disappeared as he said, "This evolution allowed me to obtain memories from the upper realm. I should be considered an upper-level void-shattering realm cultivator." Jun Changshao was instantly hurt. Although he had improved by cheating, didn't he spend a lot of effort to complete various tasks in exchange for it? Look at him, he could improve by sleeping, and to such an exaggerated extent. This was really a blow to his self-esteem. Master. Little Long Long patted his chest and vowed, "I can bring you to the upper realm now." After waking up this time, not only did his strength improve greatly, but he also comprehended a special divine ability of the dragon race. He could easily tear through the restrictions of the lower realm's heavenly Tao and ascend to a higher realm. No need. Jun Changshao said, "We'll be in the upper realm." Little Long Long was dumbfounded. When he realized that although the sect hadn't changed much, the background outside had completely changed, especially. Why were the heaven and earth attributes stronger than before? Jun Changshao told him about the sect's ascension in detail. Little Long Long was speechless. In other words, I slept from the lower realm to the upper realm. That's right. Ha! Little Long Long hugged his head and said in agony, "I thought that I would be able to show off in front of Master, but in the end, I brought the entire sect with me. You're even more pretentious than me. Stop howling, hurry up and put on your clothes." Jun Changshao threw over a brand new sect of all times uniform and said with a look of disdain, "It's even smaller than Z's. The evolution is a failure." Hey, little lizard. Little Long Long had just put on his school uniform when the barefooted Xiao Moxian walked over. She used her hands to ravage the spiritual cat and curled her lips. "I'm awake." She and Little Long Long were a pair of quarrelsome lovers. They usually relied on bickering to survive. When Little Long Long fell asleep, they would be very bored, so they could only focus on Du Nan's pet. AI. Little Long Long shrugged and said helplessly, "Evolution is a happy thing, but a jinx came." Jun Changshao frowned and reprimanded, "She's here to show concern for you. How can you speak like that? Oh my God. Oh my God." The system said, "These words coming out of Go Xing's mouth, why do I feel like I read the wrong book? Who are you calling a jinx?" Xiao Moxian's hands were still squeezing the spiritual cat until her face was distorted. Although her expression was ferocious, her heart was very comfortable. "Sorry, I was wrong." It should be Broom Eagle. Don't you. I've evolved 3 times now. Beating you with 1 finger is enough. Good. Xiao Moxian slammed the spiritual cat to the ground and then ruthlessly kicked it several times before angrily turning around and leaving. Che. Little Long Long coldly snorted. Seeing the 2 contract beasts start their daily bickering, Jun Changshao helplessly shook his head. He squatted down and said, "Little guy, do you need to be rescued?" "No need. I can still hold on." The spiritual cat lay on the ground and said weakly and happily. Little Long Long, who had successfully evolved 3 times, not only had the strength of the upper void-piercing realm, but its body had also completely transformed into human form. It had completely broken away from its lizard appearance. Dragon race. Feng Guichen firmly said in his heart, "It's definitely the dragon race." Unlike him and the black and white Rakshas's crazy imagination, the Purple King, who was sitting in the hall of the Spirit Beast Hall, was flustered. Little Long Long was a 5-clawed dragon that he had stolen. Now that it had awakened in the upper realm, if the dragon race discovered it, No. Wouldn't the entire sect be in trouble? No. He had to hurry up and alert the Patriarch. The Purple King hurriedly set off for Dragon Head Peak, only to find that Jun Changshao was not in his room. Instead, he was sitting at a stone table in the courtyard next door. He said seriously, "Do you understand now?" "I understand." Rose of Flowers suddenly understood. She smiled and said, "So husband also has the ability to give birth." Put on. Jun Changshao directly pressed his face against the table, howling in his heart, "I explained for so long but you still don't understand what I mean." Hearing the conversation between the two, the Purple King's eyes suddenly widened. He thought to himself, "Don't humans only give birth to children when women do? The Patriarch can actually give birth to his own children. My God, this is unbelievable." Chapter 1372. Jun Changshao walked out of the courtyard. Strange, why do I have to explain myself? Moreover, why is it that the more I explain, the more misunderstood I get? Sigh. He sighed and returned to his residence. He was surprised to find the Purple King standing outside the door with an interesting expression on his face. He asked, "Hall Master Z, why are you standing here?" The Purple King hurriedly adjusted his mood and went straight to the point. "Patriarch, the little dragon's evolution this time is a little too loud. It's likely to alarm the dragon clan. That's for the best." Jun Changshao said, "I've cultivated the 5-clawed dragon that represents the imperial power to such an extent. Who knows, they might be so touched that they'll give me all kinds of martial arts resources." He used to think that he could rely on his contracted beast to ascend to the heavens. Now that he was in the upper realm, he might be able to reap some benefits from letting the little dragon acknowledge its ancestors. As he thought about it, Jun Changshao became melancholic. Previously, he did not consider the little dragon's identity because it was useless. After all, his home was in the upper realm, a new world that could not be reached at all. However, now that he was here, he had to face this problem. The fire dragon that represented the imperial power would eventually have to return to inherit the throne. Patriarch. The Purple King said with a serious expression. The little dragon doesn't have any imperial aura now. If the dragon clan finds out, it'll definitely bring about a huge disaster. Although he had never seen the noblest 5-clawed dragon, the fire dragon style had definitely gone completely astray since it was hatched. They would definitely be unhappy if he turned their future heir to the throne into something that was neither human nor dragon. It was not a big deal if he destroyed the sect because of a disagreement. He was afraid that he would be buried along with it. Z was not afraid of death. Otherwise, he would not have stolen the dragon egg back then. He was now completely integrated into the sect of all times like Anyo. He already regarded this place as his home, so he did not want any accidents to happen. With worries in his heart, he had more worries. Don't worry. Jun Changshao said, the sect has a sect protecting formation. The disturbance during the day. At this point, he exclaimed, oh no, the purple night constellation formation has not been activated. Previously, it was still running 24 hours a day. However, after Junren Tonggu forced his way in, it went into standby mode and never turned on again. It's over, it's over. The Purple King said in despair, the dragon race will definitely notice and send experts to kill us. Our sect of all times will be in danger. Buzz. Jun Changshao hurriedly activated the formation and said, it shouldn't be that bad, right? The Purple King said, I'd rather be careful than be careless. That makes sense. Jun Changshao pondered for a moment and said, in the future, when the formation is fully activated, try not to let little Long Long go out. However, Go Xing did not know that when the little dragon successfully evolved and let out a dragon roar, several dragon beasts that were circling around the mountain peak suddenly opened their eyes from their slumber. Their eyes flashed with excitement. Our emperor is back, our emperor is back. Whoosh whoosh. In the mountains, the dragon beasts woke up from their slumber and then became abnormally excited. A thick and powerful dragon aura instantly filled the surroundings, causing the space to tremble. Whoosh! The old dragon that was circling around the highest mountain peak flew over and transformed into a kind-looking hunchbacked old man. He said, hurry up and inform the 4 great dragon kings to stop their infighting and welcome our emperor back as soon as possible. After saying that, he looked at the deepest part of the mountains at the throne made of an unknown ore and said excitedly, after tens of thousands of years, the Dragon Emperor's throne finally has a new owner. High Priest. A dragon beast transformed into a human and said softly, the 4 great dragon kings have been fighting for a long time to be the boss. If they know that our emperor is back, I'm afraid they will have some evil thoughts. What? That old man said angrily, do they still dare to harm our emperor? In the words of the human race, one should not have the intention to harm others, but one must be vigilant against others. The dragon martial artist said seriously, it's better to send a trustworthy subordinate to bring our emperor back. What's more, many sects and great powers are coveting our dragon race's resources. If we go out to look for the dragon emperor with great fanfare, once they find out, I'm afraid it will be detrimental to our emperor. That makes sense. After thinking for a while, the old dragon said, call the 2 brothers Ting Fei over and have them go down the mountain to look for the dragon emperor. Remember, you must be careful and not leak the news out. Yes sir. In front of a clear pool in the depths of the mountains, 2 dragon beasts were lazily lying on the riverbank, giving people the feeling that they were sunbathing. Suddenly, the sound of a secret technique sounded in their ears, and they immediately turned into 2 imposing humans. These were the Teng Fei brothers that the high priest had mentioned. One was called Long Teng, and the other was called Long Fei. Although their strength was not top-notch in the dragon race, they were very professional in gathering information. Schwa. Long Teng put on a simple and unadorned gold-rimmed attire that represented his family's poverty. Then, he took out a comb and combed his messy golden hair, and said seriously, little brother, this is a difficult task. Long Fei squatted by the river, used the water surface as a mirror, patted his delicate face, and said, we must bring the Dragon Emperor back safely, and not disappoint the expectations of the entire dragon race. Let's go. After finishing his preparations, he walked out of the mountain without recognizing anyone. In the end, he bumped into each other with a bang, and then he covered his head and grimaced in pain. The appearance of the 2 brothers in human form was actually quite heroic and extraordinary, but there was a small accident during the evolution process. Their eyes were not aligned properly, and they were all close to the middle of their noses, causing them to see double. That's right. It was cross-eyed. Don't block my way. You're the one who's blocking me, okay? Bam. Bam. The two brothers walked along the path of the pool and bumped into each other as they walked out of the mountain. The old dragon stood in the distance and couldn't help but worry, it feels a little unreliable. In an area where space had shattered and the earth had collapsed, four martial warriors wearing different colored clothes were fighting fiercely. Because the scene was stuck in a PowerPoint, there was no need to describe it. Suddenly, the four experts stopped at the same time. A strange expression appeared on their faces as they said, "This is my emperor's aura." Ha ha ha. A square-faced, bearded middle-aged man laughed out loud, "The battle between us can be declared over." That's right. The man who looked more sinister sneered, "I'll assist the new emperor. The three of you can get lost. Are you sure you're assisting and not the regent who monopolizes power?" The expert beside him said lightly. Another martial warrior said lightly, "Assisting the new emperor depends on seniority. I'm the most senior among the four dragon kings, and I'm also the most qualified. Let's not compare seniority, let's compare military merits." The bearded man said proudly. Obviously, the four powerful martial warriors were the dragon kings that the high priest had mentioned before. They had absolute strength in the dragon race, but because the dragon emperor did not appear, they all wanted to be the temporary boss and lead the entire dragon race, so they fought for a long time. Judging from the aura just now, my emperor should have just awakened. He might not be strong enough and might not be able to return to Dragon Mountain alone. How about this, whoever finds the dragon emperor first and brings him back will assist him. Okay. Agreed. No objections. The four dragon kings agreed and flew out of this special space that was isolated from the upper realm one after another. Sect of all times, main hall. Jun Changshao paced back and forth in the study room angrily. Su Xiaoma, Li Fei, and the other disciples stood with their heads lowered, feeling as if they had done something wrong. Smack! After a while, Jun Changshao stopped in front of the study table and slapped it, roaring, "Who spread the rumor that I'm going to give birth?" Him. Su Xiaoma, Li Fei, Li Tian, and the others instantly pointed at each other. Chapter 1373. It was no longer important who spread the news about having children. What was important was that the whole sect knew about it, and it had already spread like wildfire. In order to stop the rumors, Jun Changshao directly used the Patriarch's greatest power to suppress it completely. Anyone who spread the rumors would be sent to the discipline hall. No one talked about it anymore, but the disciples all admired him in their hearts. The Patriarch was indeed the Patriarch. He even took on all the women's work. Sigh. Jun Changshao sat in the study room, upset. He used the function of the epic mission reward to upgrade the Spirit Beast Hall. Ding! The Spirit Beast Hall has been successfully upgraded to an enhanced version of the Spirit Beast Hall. The Alchemy Pavilion, Smithing Pavilion, and Talisman Pavilion had all been upgraded. From the looks of it, the Alchemy Pavilion and Smithing Pavilion had been greatly improved. But what was the use of this enhanced version of the Spirit Beast Hall? When Jun Changshao clicked on it, he almost jumped out of his chair. The interface of the Spirit Beast Hall had changed a lot. Not only did it retain the previous functions, but there were also a few more small boxes. In each box, there was a beast egg. They had different colors and names: Thunder Caltrop Egg, Ice Phoenix Egg, Spirit Travel Egg, etc. Damn! This is a bit exaggerated. What made Jun Changshao even more shocked was that there was an introduction of the new version of the Spirit Beast Hall at the bottom. Each egg was a rare beast that could be incubated with special materials, and anyone in the sect could be assigned to be the exclusive contracted beast. The Spirit Beast Hall's function in the lower realm was to train skills and refine beast pills. Its presence was not as high as the Alchemy Pavilion and Smithing Pavilion. Now, the new version could actually breed beast eggs and assign them to be the exclusive contracted beast of others. Ha ha ha. Jun Changshao covered his face and laughed. Just from the name of the beast egg, one could tell that it was definitely a very awesome rare beast. He did not lack contracted beasts, but his disciples did. If each of them had one, it would definitely increase their strength. Equipment, treasures, and mounts. In the martial arts world, apart from one's own cultivation, these were the three most indispensable things to show off. Li Qingyang, Xiao Ziji, and the others just happened to lack mounts. Swish! Jun Changshao hurriedly clicked on the Thunder Caltrop egg, and a detailed introduction popped up. Beast egg, Thunder Caltrop egg quality, rare exotic beast condition, requires 10 million magnetite to hatch. Specified, none at the moment. After seeing the conditions, Jun Changxiao's heated heart felt as if it had been attacked by ice, and was instantly doused with cold water. It was obvious that hatching this Thunder Caltrop egg didn't require many complicated procedures. All he needed to do was to prepare 10 million profound stones. Go Sheng looked at the other beast eggs one after another. They were all rare treasures, and all of them required tens of millions of magnetite. That meant don't waste time, just spend money. This is too expensive. A single beast egg would cost 10 million. If each of the sect's 100,000 disciples was given a contracted beast. No, they simply couldn't afford it. Be content. The system said, in any case, it was nurtured with magnetite. If it was nurtured with contribution points, the host would probably vomit blood. Not bad. Jun Changxiao's eyes gradually lit up. Although magnetite was important, he could still think of ways to earn it. Contribution points could only be obtained through missions. For example, he was still stuck at 40,000. He simply didn't have the courage to open the store. No rush, no rush. Jun Changxiao calmed down and said, money can be earned slowly. When the time comes, I can casually take out a few 100 million and give each of the core disciples a contracted beast. The Thunder Caltrop egg belongs to the Thunder attribute and is suitable for Qingyang. The Ice Phoenix egg belongs to the Ice attribute and is suitable for Qianqian. The Spirit Traverser egg should be a speed type and is suitable for Xiaomu. Although Gosheng didn't have money now, it didn't hinder him from arranging the contracted beasts in advance. Of course, there were still many beast eggs in the enhanced version of the Spirit Beast Hall. Because of the limit of the inventory, it was difficult to display them all, so he wouldn't introduce them one by one. Boom! Boom! In a huge mountain range shrouded in dark clouds, visible thunder and lightning madly bombarded, causing the space to violently tremble and gather a murderous aura. Patriarch. On the cliff where thunder and lightning intersected, an old man with a beard like a thunder snake hurried over and exclaimed, the Thunder Caltrop egg that was nurtured by the Thunder Pool for thousands of years has disappeared for no reason. In a land of ice and snow. A group of extraordinary beauties were conducting a carpet search because not long ago, an Ice Phoenix egg in the clan was stolen. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the vast and boundless grassland, dozens of powerful creatures that looked like tigers and wolves with wings on their backs flew close to the ground. Their huge eyes flashed with monstrous anger. Patriarch's orders. We must catch the culprit who stole the Spirit Traverser egg as soon as possible. It could be said that after Jun Changxiao upgraded the Spirit Beast Hall, many special non-human clans in the upper realm had lost something. At this moment, they were conducting an intensive search. Readers who were familiar with the source of the 7 mysterious Sunglow break would definitely understand that the various beast eggs they had stolen must have been stolen by the system. In short, the number of beast eggs in the Spirit Beast Hall was the same as the number of beast eggs in the various clans. This was definitely a huge trap. Fortunately, Jun Changxiao didn't realize it. At this moment, he was happily thinking about how to earn more magnetite in the shortest time possible and then arrange exclusive contracted beasts for the disciples. Of course. Go Sheng secretly said, it's not realistic to equip all the disciples in the sect. I can only arrange for the upper echelons and core disciples first. When each of them has one, riding all kinds of rare beasts and following this king to conquer the Sea of Stars, the scene will definitely be beautiful. Reader, the scene of you being surrounded by thousands of clans will definitely be even more beautiful. Just thinking about it was better than living a good life. Only by truly working hard could it be realized. Therefore, Jun Changshao withdrew all the empty thoughts and began to focus on making money. Hall Master Feng is the chief alchemist of the Pill Hall. This organization definitely needs a lot of herbs. I can let him take the lead to establish a long-term and effective business channel. Jun Changshao set off for the medicine hall, which didn't have a single soldier. There was only one main hall. As soon as he entered, he saw the other party dancing with joy inside. Thus, he asked in surprise, "Didn't you have enough of the morning exercises?" Patriarch Feng Guichen said excitedly, "I used your herbs to refine pills. The effect is more than 10 times stronger than normal pills." Calm down, calm down. Jun Changshao said, "This is normal." Feng Guichen forced himself to calm down, then placed a crystal-clear pill on the table and said, "This is the profound essence nourishing pill. After taking it, you will be able to gather heaven and earth attribute and world principles faster. Normal pills can last for 1 day, but refined with Patriarch's herbs can last for 10 days. Oh. Jun Changshao remained calm. The effect of this profound essence nourishing pill was similar to the lower realm's chi gathering pill. Refined with Alchemy Pavilion, it could increase the effect by dozens or even hundreds of times. Even before ascension, he would not be able to eat more, so his mind was as calm as still water. Moreover, Feng Guichen said again, the absorption speed is also 10 times faster than normal pills. Hall Master Feng, control your emotions. You're spitting out saliva. Jun Changshao wiped his face and said helplessly. Schwa. Feng Guichen took out several different pills again and said, "This is the blood coagulation restoration pill, this is the mysterious meridian protecting pill, one for healing, and one for protecting the meridians. With Patriarch's herbs, the effect has increased by more than 10 times. Jun Changshao took a few steps back because the more the other party spoke, the more he could not control his emotions. His saliva was flying all over the screen. The most important thing is, Feng Guichen said seriously, the success rate of refining ordinary pills with ordinary herbs is not particularly high, but with Patriarch's herbs, not only is there no error per batch, it can even produce 10 batches. The system said, it seems that host does not need to buy pill recipes. Hall Master Feng is a walking alchemy cheat. Holy shit. Jun Changshao slapped his forehead and said, that's right, why didn't I think of that? His thoughts were still stuck on the upgraded version of Alchemy Pavilion. As long as he bought pill recipes, he could produce pills in large quantities. He ignored the fact that although Feng Guichen could not refine pills in one go, his attainments in this area were very high. Why buy pill recipes? He could just give him the materials to refine them. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. As a result, one could clearly see from the camera outside the hall that Jun Changshao, who had been able to maintain his calm, was dancing with Feng Guichen, occasionally making shameless cat noises. Chapter 1374. Jun Changshao had always been focused on the Alchemy Pavilion, so after being reminded by the system, he realized Feng Guichen's value. Not only could he establish business connections, but he could also refine all kinds of pills. What did the sect lack now? What they lacked was medicinal pills. The profound essence nourishing pill, blood coagulation recovery pill, and profound vein protecting pill that he had just refined were obviously very suitable for widespread use. Hall Master Feng. Jun Changshao said seriously, don't study herbs for now. The sect's necessary pills will depend on you from now on. I will not disappoint the Patriarch. Feng Guichen cupped his hands, but added, can you assign some people to me? I am the only one on such a big pill peak, it's a bit lonely. No problem. Jun Changshao said, "This king will go to the alchemy pavilion to assign some people. You can focus on alchemy." Not long after, Sun Wukong and some disciples arrived at Pill Peak. As the saying went, medicine and alchemy were inseparable. Gou Xing planned to let them run between the two sides to learn more and master another skill. Learn alchemy well from Hall Master Feng. Yes. At this point, the members of the Alchemy Pavilion began to work part-time as members of the Alchemy Pavilion. Every day, they would spend half their days taking care of herbs and the other half learning alchemy. Although their days were tough, as the chief alchemist of the Alchemy Pavilion, Feng Guichen was a top grandmaster. Learning alchemy from him was the dream of countless people in the upper realm. The members of the Alchemy Pavilion dealt with herbs all year round, so learning alchemy was very suitable. Especially Sun Wukong. This disciple who had joined the Alchemy Pavilion at the same time as Li Tian and the others was not outstanding in martial arts, but he was extremely talented in medicine. Now that he had the guidance of a master, he would definitely soar. Patriarch. After a few days of teaching, Feng Guichen mentioned him, "This child's understanding of alchemy is very outstanding. If he is trained well, his future achievements will be immeasurable." Oh. Jun Changshao was very surprised. For a beast alchemist of the Alchemy Pavilion to give such an evaluation, it was enough to show how talented Sun Wukong was. Unfortunately, in the lower realm, pills were always produced by the Alchemy Pavilion, so his talent had been buried for decades. No matter. Gold will always be spent. With the most authoritative alchemy grandmaster coming to the sect of all times, Sun Wukong's talent would definitely be unleashed perfectly. Night fell. Jun Changshao sat alone in the main hall with his fingers interlocked and his chin resting on the back of his hand. He said meaningfully, "I hope that one day, we can completely break away from the system's assistance and make the sect truly powerful." Gou Sheng was also a human being. Gou Sheng also cared about his reputation. Thus, he wanted to prove to the world that whatever the top sects could do, he could do it even without using cheats. In fact, he might even do it better than them. All of you can complain all you want, but Jun Changshao had made up his mind. He began to pay more attention to the development of the disciples in all aspects. Once the system transitioned the sect to the strongest sect in the upper realm, he would decisively stop using it. "Don't just give me some empty words," the system said, "if you're so capable, then stop using it right now." Medicine Hall, Medical Hall, Forging Hall. In a sense, these three halls determined whether a sect would become powerful in the future. After serious consideration, Jun Changshao set off for Lin Yuan City the next day. He planned to purchase the corresponding facilities, which was the first real step to not relying on the system in the future. If the disciples wanted to learn alchemy, they would have to practice it. Thus, all kinds of pill furnaces and common herbs were indispensable. Although Elder Wei and Fan Yezi were in charge of the medical hall and the forging hall, they could no longer be called grandmasters in the upper realm. They still needed to buy herbs, forging books, and so on so that they could learn as long as they were alive. Materials, tools, books, and so on could all be bought. It was just a matter of whether one had money or not. Gou Xing did not have much money, but it was enough to buy these. Once again, he stepped into Lin Yuan City and stopped on the wide main street. He still looked as weak as before. The reason was that he had heard Feng Guichen say that he had bought heaven and earth treasure-grade herbs from City Lord Lu. As long as the other party was not a fool, he would definitely realize his value. "I am Jun Changshao, quickly come and worship me." Shwa shwa shwa. At this moment, a group of soldiers in armor hurried over. The leader, Lu Deshui, walked over and said with a trembling smile, "Welcome, little friend, to my Lin Yuan City again." During this time, he had been looking for Jun Changshao. After all, someone who could make Feng Guichen spend a lot of money to buy herbs must be someone with power. When there was no news, his subordinates suddenly came to report that the murderer who beat up the patriarch had entered the city, so he rushed over as fast as he could. Jun Changshao scratched his head and said, I just came to buy some daily necessities, there's no need for the city lord to personally welcome me. Don't look at this guy's expressionless face, in fact, he was very happy on the inside. It couldn't be helped, he was born with a good face. Little friend, if you need anything, this Lu will order his subordinates to sell it immediately. Not only was City Lord Lu very polite, but he also invited Jun Changshao to the city lord's mansion as a distinguished guest. As a result, the passers-by in the city were confused. Did that weak young man just beat up the city lord's son some time ago? Why did the city lord personally come to welcome him? City lord's mansion main hall. Jun Changshao looked around the simple decoration and casually placed antique vases before sincerely saying, City Lord Lu is a simple and unpretentious person from a poor family. You flatter me, you flatter me. Lu Deshui waved his hand and smiled, it's just plain tea, little friend, I hope you don't mind. Jun Changshao picked up the teacup on the table, took a small sip, and praised, good tea, good tea. Lu Deshui asked, what is little friend's surname? My surname is Jun. Young Master Jun is a handsome man with an imposing appearance, you must have a prominent background. Lu Deshui complimented, but what he meant was that someone who could grow herbs that could shock even Feng Guichen was definitely a grandmaster. Jun Changshao said modestly, this Jun doesn't have a prominent background, I'm just managing a small sect. Oh. Lu Deshui was quite surprised, young Master Jun is the sect master of a sect. Indeed. Jun Changshao nodded. This kind of pretentious elegance was really asking for a beating. So it's Jun Patriarch, sorry for the disrespect. Lu Deshui cupped his fists and asked, may I ask the name of your sect? The strongest sect of all ages. Ah. Lu Deshui's facial muscles froze. He had naturally heard of this sect that sneaked up from the lower realms and made the Flying Sword Profound Sect, High Blade Profound Sect, and other forces suffer. Jun Changshao put down his teacup and said, I heard that City Lord Lu had a business deal with my sect's Hall Master Feng not long ago. This. City Lord Lu wanted to say that he had no dealings with your sect, but suddenly thought of something and stood up, surprised, the Hall Master Feng that Jun Patriarch mentioned. Could it be? Feng Guichen, Grandmaster Feng. Yes. Jun Changshao nodded. City Lord Lu's expression suddenly became interesting. Since Grandmaster Feng was the hall master of the sect of all times, this guy forced him to sell herbs to him, and then the former paid a high price. Could it be that he was unhappy with his son and beat him up, then gave him 2 million as compensation? If that's the case, can I call my son over and let him beat him a few more times? City Lord Lu. Jun Changshao said seriously, in fact, this king came to Lin Yuan City this time not only to buy daily necessities, but also to buy a few shops in your city to do some small business. Can you make an exception? When he came, he had thought that he could make a fortune by selling herbs alone, but he needed to do it batch by batch. If he could manage various industries in the upper realms, it would undoubtedly be a very good choice. In the lower realms, Jun Changshao relied on Master AI and second young Master Tang to do business, and the sect's only business was the beast material shop. This time, he had to do it alone in the upper realms because he had connections with Feng Guichen and Jinren Tonggu as his master. Who came to provoke me? Chapter 1375. Upon hearing that Jun Changshao wanted to buy shops in the city, Lu Deshui immediately declared, Jun Patriarch can choose any of the shops in the city's major streets. Not long after, servants rushed over from the market, delivering various pill facilities, medicinal herbs, medical books, and so on. City Lord Lu, how much is it? Jun Changshao was about to take out money when Lu Deshui hurriedly cupped his hands and said, these daily necessities don't cost much, just take it as a gift from me to Jun Patriarch. Gosheng did not decline and cupped his hands. Thank you. June Patriarch, do you want to have a simple meal first before going to look at the shops, or do you want to go now? Lu Deshui smiled. Let's go now. Please. Under Lu Deshui's lead, Jun Changshao strolled through all the major streets of Lin Yuan City. In the end, he chose 4 stores in the western district that were in a decent location and asked, City Lord Lu, what's the price? Anything. He was really forthright. Jun Changshao, who had always been fastidious, decided to spend the market price of 5 million magnetite to buy the 4 shops after some consideration. After all the procedures were completed, Lu Deshui smiled. Jun Patriarch bought so many items related to pills, is he planning to open a pill shop? Yes. The system was speechless. Why do I want to beat him up so much? Lu Deshui said with a serious expression, there are 2 old pill shops in the East and North City. If Jun Patriarch doesn't have any special features, I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to establish himself in Lin Yuan City. Business like pills and weapons were undoubtedly the most popular in the upper realm because of the high demand, but at the same time, they were also dominated by many old shops, making it difficult for new shops to survive. Looking at the entire world, countless shops opened every day, and many closed. Not only would they lose money in the end, but they would also make many enemies. Jun Changshao smiled. Thank you for your reminder, City Lord Lu. He had all kinds of materials and shops. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he bid farewell and returned to the sect. Lu Deshui enthusiastically sent him off to the city gate. Only when his figure had completely disappeared did a guard ask in confusion, Mayor, you seem to value this Jun Patriarch a lot. For a sect master who had not even reached the Xian level to be treated like this by the city lord, it was really against common sense. This kid. Lu Deshui said, not simple. It was not because of the medicinal herbs that he planted, but because he could bring a sect to the upper realm. Many people thought that this city lord was Ai Shangyao, but in fact, he was more like Xie Guankuan. Readers who guessed wrong in this chapter, please line up and slap your own face. Jun Changshao returned to the Eternal Sect along the way. As for Lu Deshui's reminder about the old pill store in the eastern and northern districts, he didn't care about it at all. Since he wanted to do business, he definitely had the core competitiveness. If you sell profound cultivation pills, I will definitely sell them too. Moreover, the effects are 10 times better than yours. I don't believe that there will be no market and no users. After returning to the sect, Gosheng gathered the upper echelons to discuss opening a pill store. He received Yuan Feng's strong support on the spot. It's decided then. Jun Changshao made the decision. When the next batch of medicinal herbs matures, we will use them all to refine pills. Then, we will open an ancient pill store in Lin Yuan City. Old Yuan, I will leave the renovation of a few shops in the city to you. Yes. Yuan Gongzi set off for Lin Yuan City on the same day, accompanied by Feng Guichen. Jun Changshao wanted to make arrangements for City Lord Lu so that he could take care of him in the future. Sure enough, when Lu Deshui confirmed that the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall was really the hall master of the sect of all times, he was even more polite to Yuan Gongzi, even calling him brother. Incredible, incredible. Just with Master Feng's reputation alone, once the sect of all times opens an ancient pill store, it will cause a huge sensation. What Lu Deshui was thinking was also what Jun Changshao was thinking, so he ordered Li Luoqiu to spread the news that the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall was about to open an ancient pill store to further cities. After Feng Guichen learned of this, he smiled bitterly, I am no longer the free and easy person who likes to travel the world. His previous persona collapsed and a new persona was established. He was now the hall master of the sect of all times alchemy hall and the chief alchemist of the ancient pill store. Fortunately, the alchemy hall was not a powerful organization. Other than reporting at a fixed time, they generally did not restrict the activities of their members, let alone interfere with their part-time jobs. The other 7 chief alchemists were either honorary elders of top sects or honored guests of top families. If they knew that Feng Guichen had joined an unknown sect, they might even look at him with disdain. 1 month later, a new batch of medicinal herbs matured. Feng Guichen began to refine various pills. Because Sun Wukong and the others had only been in contact with alchemy for a short time, they could only help out. Jun Changshao was not idle either. He took out a small amount of medicinal herbs to refine transformation pills and distributed them to the disciples, striving to make them available to the entire sect as soon as possible. Patriarch Feng Guichen also ate a transformation pill and felt that his body, meridians, soul, and other aspects had been greatly improved. He was shocked. What kind of pill is this? A pill passed down in the sect of all times. I have studied alchemy for so many years, but I have never seen a single pill that can enhance so many things. As a higher realm, alchemy was very developed. Naturally, it involved the body, meridians, soul, and other aspects, but a single pill that could enhance so many things and had such an obvious effect was completely unheard of. Hall Master Feng, please remember. Jun Changshao said, our sect's first motto is to keep a low profile. The corners of Feng Guichen's mouth twitched slightly as he asked, Sect Master, why do I remember you saying that your first objective is to be an unyielding person and do unyielding things? Hall Master Feng. Sun Wukong whispered, the first motto of our sect of all times is to change things according to the mood of the Patriarch. Just get used to it. Black lines appeared on Feng Guichen's forehead. The sect created by Senior Tong Gu was not strict at all. Lin Yuan City. Gongs, drums, and firecrackers filled the air. After a while, Jun Changshao stood in front of the decorated shop in formal attire. He tore off the red cloth hanging on the signboard and announced the official opening of the ancient pill store. Congratulations, congratulations. Lu Desui cupped his fists and congratulated with a smile. On the opening day of the ancient pill store, cultivators from all walks of life gathered on the streets. After all, the promotion was on point and the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall was present. At first, they entered the store with the mentality of trying to buy pills, but after learning that many pills were more than 10 times more effective than ordinary pills, they were immediately stunned. City Lord Lu. Jun Changshao handed over a profound nourishing pill and said with a smile, you can try it. Okay. Lu Desui picked it up doubtfully and threw it into his mouth. When the pill's efficacy completely took effect, his blood vessels and pores seemed to open instantly, madly absorbing the attributes and principles of heaven and earth. He exclaimed in shock, unbelievable, unbelievable. Many patriarchs saw this and secretly thought, so exaggerated. In fact, this was not exaggerated. One had to know that Lu Desui had taken a pill yesterday and the expression on his face was even more exaggerated. Originally, he had been asked to cooperate today, but in the end, his acting was not up to standard. This reminded people of Kujin Nan of the Spirit Origin Continent, a true golden partner. City Lord Ku, I miss you so much. Jun Patriarch, I want to buy a profound cultivating pill, a patriarch said. Jun Changshao said, these pills were all refined by Hall Master Feng. As the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall, I'm sure no one will doubt his alchemy skills. Therefore, the price of my eternal alchemy store's pills are 10 times more expensive than ordinary pills. Because there aren't many of them, there's still a limit. In fact, there was a lot of stock prepared this time, but Go Shing had to control the quantity. Firstly, it was hunger marketing, and secondly, rare goods were expensive. Chapter 1376. The newly opened Eternal Pill Store was destined to have a booming business because its pills were 10 times more effective than regular pills. Among them, the best-selling was naturally the Profound Essence Nourishing Pill worth 1,000 profound stones. It could last for 10 days after consumption, and the absorption speed was also 10 times faster than regular pills. The blood coagulation restoration pill and profound vein protecting pill were also very good, but one focused on healing while the other focused on protection. Therefore, cultivators usually only prepared a few as spares instead of using them every day. Old Yuan, Old Feng. Jun Changshao arranged, I'll leave this place to you. This king will return to the sect first. He had come to participate in the opening of the store. In the future, the operation and management would be handed over to Yuan Feng and Feng Guichen. He only needed to be responsible for counting the money in the sect. Have you heard? The newly opened Eternal Pill store in the west of the city sells a lot of pills with 10 times the effect of regular pills. Of course I've heard. The patriarch of the Kai family next door bought a lot. I heard that he went into seclusion after returning. Let's go and take a look. We can go and take a look, but don't expect to buy any pills. Why? Because they sold out within 2 hours of opening. The news of the Eternal Pill store selling pills 10 times more effective than regular pills spread throughout Lin Yuan City in just half a day. With the flow of cultivators from all walks of life, it would slowly spread to other cities. Many people rushed over with excitement, only to find that the store had already hung a sign saying, pills for sale. Sigh. They could only come tomorrow morning. The next day. Many cultivators woke up early, but when they arrived at the Eternal Pill store, they found that there was already a long line. Isn't it just an Eternal Pill store? So many people are rushing to buy, could it be that they're selling immortal pills? The most frustrating thing was that after waiting in line for a long time, when it was almost their turn, the door was slammed shut and a sign saying, pills for sale, please buy early, was hung. Holy shit. I waited all morning for nothing. The cultivators who didn't buy any pills returned disappointed and decided to wake up even earlier the next day. The popularity of the Eternal Pill store also impacted other pill stores. For example, the 2 old pill stores in the east and north of the city had a severe decline in sales in just a few days. The people in charge were both anxious and angry. They could only be angry and didn't dare to have any ideas. After all, with Feng Guichen here, offending him was the same as offending the alchemy hall. Therefore, when doing business in the upper realm, connections and relationships were very important. Jun Changshao relied on his identity as the chief alchemist of the alchemy hall to come up with the idea of opening a shop to develop the Sect's business. In the next few days, Lin Yuan City was destined to be very lively. Every morning, a long queue could be seen on the street where the medicinal pill store was located. Many people were excited because they managed to buy the pills, but many people were depressed because they didn't manage to buy any. Of course, the news about the Eternal Elixir store had already begun to spread to cities further away. Many poor and simple families and rogue cultivators were on their way to Lin Yuan City. Lu Deshui was currently very happy, because the influx of foreign martial artists in such a short period of time would undoubtedly bring more benefits to the city. Yuan Gongzi. In order to get closer to the sect of all times, he specially arranged a banquet for Yuan Feng and declared, tax exemption for 1 year. Lu Deshui had thought that the medicinal pill store overseen by Feng Guichen would definitely be popular once it opened, but he didn't expect it to be so popular. According to the current trend, as long as the news spread to the surrounding cities, it would definitely be even more terrifying. City Lord Lu. Yuan Gongzi took a sip of wine and smiled. Although the scale of Lin Yuan City is larger than any city in the lower realm, it is not conspicuous in the upper realm, because. He paused for a moment and continued, there are no characteristics that people will remember. Lu Deshui fell into a short silence, then clapped his hands and said, tax exemption for 3 years. He understood that the other party was telling him that the Eternal Elixir store could be established in Lin Yuan City, which was a treasure. That was its biggest characteristic, so collecting less tax and attracting more martial artists was definitely a good deal. I heard from the patriarch that he will open a medicinal pill store in the city in the future and actively contact other cities, hoping to turn this place into a large market for medicinal pills and herbs, Yuan Gongzi said in a low voice. This, Lu Dishui's eyes widened, then he said straightforwardly, your store doesn't have to pay taxes in the future. If there is any need, this Lu will do his best to assist. Then I'll have to trouble City Lord Lu. Yuan Gongzi raised his cup. Lu Deshui also hurriedly raised his cup. The two of them drank merrily for an hour before leaving the banquet. In fact, Jun Changshao really did have the idea of opening a medicinal pill store, but he didn't decide when to implement it, let alone create a large market for medicinal pills and herbs. Yuan Gongzi's words were deceptive, but it was also to fight for the greatest benefits for the sect. The eternal elixir store was in full swing, and the disciples of the sect of all times were also diligently cultivating. It could be said that there were batches of breakthroughs. Jun Changshao wasn't idle either. The popularity of the elixir store was expected, but he couldn't always do hunger marketing, otherwise it would be easy to burn himself. So he could only step on his flying sword and start running around the surrounding cities, hoping to sell more medicinal pill seeds. Yuan Feng, who was in charge of internal affairs, was transferred to Lin Yuan City to manage the medicinal pill business. The patriarch was often not at home, so the higher-ups and disciples would go to the rows of flowers to discuss anything. After all, she was the wife of the sect. Gosheng also didn't express his opinion. Or he deliberately pretended not to know. In this way, the rows of flowers, who clearly didn't have any actual duties, became the second-in-command of the sect of all times. She was responsible for many internal affairs. As the queen of a plane, it was naturally no problem for her to manage a sect. So when Jun Changshao was out, she took care of many things in an orderly manner. One day, at night, Jun Changshao returned from purchasing medicinal pill seeds in other cities and landed in front of the courtyard of Dragon Head Peak. He saw that the study next door was still lit. The woman was still sitting at the table organizing the sect's materials, very much like the queen who stayed up all night to review memorials. Are you touched? The system asked. Get lost. Jun Changshao rolled his eyes, then walked to the courtyard. But for some reason, he suddenly turned around and walked to the courtyard of the rows of flowers, then turned back when he was about to enter. The Rose of Flowers, who was organizing the files, noticed something. She pushed the door open and walked out. Seeing him walking around outside the door, she was puzzled. What are you doing? Whoosh! Gosheng changed from a hesitant state to the 9th set of radio gymnastics in the fastest time and said, of course I'm doing morning exercises. The Rose of Flowers was surprised. Doing morning exercises in the middle of the night? I'm happy to. Jun Changshao continued to do it like a big sand sculpture until he did a few cycles. Then he turned around and said, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. The Rose of Flowers was speechless. Just before entering the courtyard of the residence, Jun Changshao stopped and said indifferently, do everything like me, always pay attention to the balance between work and rest. Chapter 1377. The ancient elixir pharmacy had been open for more than half a month. Yuan Gongzi did not return to the sect because the distance between the two places was a little far. It was unrealistic to travel back and forth on the same day. Jun Changshao's idea was to settle accounts once a month. This way, the herbs would mature and he could also prepare new pills to sell. Patriarch. One day, He Wudi came to see him and said, I've broken through to Wu Xing's great fulfillment. So fast. Jun Changxiao's face was filled with surprise. Among the core disciples, Yi Xingchen had only just broken through to Wu Xing's peak. He Wudi was rarely high-profile, but it was not to show off. He said, Patriarch, please allow me to go out and train. Many of the martial arts facilities in the sect could not keep up with the pace. Instead of cultivating in the sect, it was better to go out and find excitement. In fact, Yi Xingchen also had this plan, but because he was severely beaten by Sun Muching in Stillwater Town, he decided to concentrate on cultivating first and only go out to train after breaking through to a higher level. How long? It's hard to say. You must be careful when you go out. Jun Changshao also knew that the sect had just started in the upper realm. Many of the facilities were basically obsolete, and there was no absolute supply of pills for the time being. Letting the disciples go out to train by themselves was undoubtedly the best choice. There were dangers. There were also opportunities. However, Gou Sheng was still a little worried. He said, "Call Xingchen and Zui Ji to go together. They can take care of each other on the way." Yes. He Wudi left and then told the two of them about going out to train. The reply he received was, "Let's go." Therefore, the three of them left the sect of all times and embarked on a wonderful journey without the protection of the patriarch. Wait a minute. Just as they reached the foot of the mountain, a voice came from behind. "I'll go with you." Jun Changshao was really worried about the three of them going out, so he let Zi follow. After all, he had lived in the upper realm and should have good experience. At this point, the three of them had gathered, and there was one more scapegoat. Xiao Ziji, who carried the shield. "Where are we going?" The Purple King said proudly. It was as if he was saying that no matter where they went, this king would guarantee their safety. He Wudi took out the map and pointed at the red dot. Demon King's Cave. When Yi Xingchen and Xiao Ziji saw this, they immediately realized that this junior martial brother must have planned this trip in advance. The Purple King, who originally had an arrogant expression, suddenly became serious, and said, "That is one of the most dangerous forbidden areas in the upper realm. With your cultivation level, you will definitely not be able to return." "It's precisely because it's dangerous that I went to train," He Wudi said. "Not bad." Yi Xingchen and Xiao Ziji agreed. If there wasn't any danger, it wouldn't be called an adventure. It would be called an adventure. The more dangerous it was, the more exciting it would be. Furthermore, He Wudi said, "We only train in the outer regions." All right. Zi, who dared to steal the dragon egg, was definitely not a coward. If three rookies who had not even reached the void-piercing realm dared to go, he would definitely accompany them to the end. Let's go. The super loud background music sounded, and the four of them left the Aeon Immortal Mountain without looking back. Patriarch Li Qingyang, who was standing in front of the mountain gate, frowned and said, "I keep feeling that letting them go out to train will be dangerous." He originally wanted to follow them, but the Patriarch had given him a mission to make full use of the undeveloped areas of the Aeon Immortal Mountain, so he had been bringing Page to survey the terrain during this period. With Hall Master Zi following, there won't be any big problems. How could Jun Changshao not know that the upper realm was even more dangerous? However, since the disciples were here, they had to be prepared to encounter danger and not grow up carefree in a greenhouse all year round. Boom! Boom! In the wilderness thousands of miles away from the sect of all times, a powerful demonic aura erupted wantonly, causing the surrounding flowers and trees to tremble. The Purple King exposed half of his body and stood proudly on the spot. Why didn't he take off his pants? It was because the attacking beasts were too weak. He took off his shirt while fighting and got rid of them all. Yi Xingchen and the other two looked like they were about to break down. Boss! It wasn't easy to find a target that could be used to fight, but you got rid of them before they even had time to take off your pants. What are we training for? Let's go. The Purple King said proudly. Thus, everyone continued on their journey. On the way to the Demon King's cave, they encountered many high-level beasts, but in the end, they were all defeated by him and he just watched the show. All right. The Patriarch didn't send Hall Master Z to protect everyone, but to deliberately steal the limelight. Roar! Roar! One day, hundreds of beasts comparable to Wu Xing's level gathered in the wilderness and surrounded Yi Xingqian, He Wudi, and Xiao Ziji. The Purple King didn't fight this time. He stood on a rock in the distance and said, "Please start your performance. We don't know if we should curse." A month later, Yuan Gongzi returned to the sect. "Don't say it first." Jun Changshao interrupted. "Let me guess how much you earned." Yuan Gongzi immediately shut his mouth. 10 million. Too little. 20 million. Too little. Jun Changshao was puzzled. He knew how many pills there were in the pharmacy. According to the price he set, even if he sold all of them, he would only earn 20 million at most. Yuan Gongzi smiled and said, "Patriarch, a few families from the big cities learned about the effects of our pills and bought them at twice the original price. So, Hall Master Feng made a total of 30 million from the batch of pills that he refined." Jun Changshao raised his hand to cover his face and laughed strangely. "Patriarch." Yuan Gongzi said weakly, "You didn't." Swoosh. Suddenly, Jun Changshao stood up and put one foot on the chair. He loudly sang a brainwashing song that exposed his age. I made money, I don't know how to spend it. I bought a Nokia with my left hand, a Motorola with my right hand." Pucci. Yuan Gongzi spat out blood on the spot. He was also shocked out of the hall. Go Sheng might be a rookie in martial arts, but he was definitely a master in music. Feng Guochen's first batch of pills only cost a few 100,000 profound stones to refine, but when he sold them to the Eternal Pill Store, he actually earned 30 million profound stones. No wonder Jun Changshao was so excited that he was singing on the spot. They had only opened for business for a month. As long as they could supply herbs at any time, what about a year? 10 years? The wealth they would gain was unimaginable. We're rich, we're rich. Jun Changshao was excited from day to night, and from night to dawn. Then, he quickly deployed a new plan to supply the Eternal Pill Pharmacy with all his strength. Elder Wei received the order and actively sent people into the medicine fields to cultivate the seeds of herbs. Page crazily swallowed undeveloped areas and built medicine fields to increase production. While the pace suddenly accelerated, Jun Changshao calmly sat in his study and opened the enhanced version of the Spirit Beast Pavilion. He planned to use profound stones to hatch a beast egg and see how it went. Swoosh! He clicked on the Thunder Caltrop egg and selected Li Qingyang. Jun Changshao had so many contracted beasts that he almost forgot who they were, so he planned to equip his second disciple with one first. When he had money in the future, he would give one to Lu Qianxian, Xiao Ziji, and the others. Disciple matched, profound stone matched, and the incubation button lit up. Phew! Jun Changshao took a deep breath and prayed, I hope the contracted beast that I bought with money is worthy of the quality of a rare treasure. Ding! Incubation begins. 10, 9, 8, 1. Ding! Thunder Caltrop egg hatched successfully. It will automatically sign a contract with disciple Li Qingyang. Damn! Jun Changshao sighed with emotion, so damn fast. Chapter 1378. In a relatively empty area of the Aeon Immortal Mountain, Li Qingyang, who was surveying the terrain, said with satisfaction, this place is not bad. It can be used for planting medicinal herbs. In the past few days, he had been strolling around the outer 4 layers of the sect, finding many suitable for developing medicinal fields and transforming new mountains. On the road of construction, the second disciple walked further and further away. It was mainly because Jun Changshao had developed the sect very well, allowing Li Qingyang and the others to have time to develop their personal hobbies, unlike the other martial artists of the other sects who wholeheartedly cultivated. If they were not careful, they would fall behind and be marginalized. Let's go to other places and take a look. Li Qingyang had just lifted a foot when some kind of fluctuation suddenly came from his body, and his entire body seemed to have fallen into a short period of time. A moment later, returning to normal, he asked in surprise, "What's going on?" Qingyang. At this moment, the patriarch's voice sounded in his ears, "Come to the main hall." Yes. Li Qingyang gave up on continuing to explore the terrain and got up to head to the Ironbone Peak. Just as he walked into the main hall, something suddenly pounced on him. He wanted to dodge or block it, but an unprecedented sense of familiarity rose in his heart, so he subconsciously hugged it. Sizzle. Thunder snakes spurted out, and the air was filled with a murderous aura. Li Qingyang focused his gaze and realized that he was hugging a ferocious beast whose entire body was wrapped in lightning. He couldn't tell what species it was. Its two eyes were very big, and its pupils were like lightning. It looked very cute. Qingyang. Jun Changshao, who was sitting on the patriarch's throne, said, "This is the Thunder Caltrip beast. From today onwards, it will be your exclusive contract beast." Huh? Li Qingyang was stunned. Whoosh! The Thunder Caltrip beast, which was about the size of a shepherd dog, stuck out its tongue and licked its master's face. A human-like smile gradually appeared on its face. Damn! What's behind second senior brother? Thunder and lightning are gathered on its fur. Li Qingyang walked out of the main hall, and the Thunder Caltrip beast, which was still in its infancy, followed behind him. Its little tail kept swaying, which immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding disciples. Second senior brother. Su Xiaomao ran over and asked in surprise, "What's this?" Li Qingyang said, "The patriarch gave me a contract beast." Contract beast? Su Xiaomao was even more surprised. He stretched out his hand to touch the adorable little guy, but as soon as he touched its fur, he started to shiver. Then, his hair stood on end, and he collapsed to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Li Qingyang's eyes widened. The little guy clearly looked very weak, but he was actually able to electrocute junior brother Su. Qingyang. Jun Changshao walked out of the hall with his hands behind his back and said, "Although this beast has just been born, it already has the strength of a saint beast, so you must not let others touch it." Comparable to a saint beast? Li Qingyang exclaimed, "So strong." The beast eggs in the Spirit Beast Pavilion were defined as rare and exotic beasts, so they were definitely extraordinary. It was normal for the eggs to be at the level of a martial emperor after hatching. In fact, Jun Changshao was still not satisfied. It would be even better if the eggs were at the upper level of the void-shattering tier or core transformation tier when they were born. Patriarch. Li Tian ran over and rubbed his hands. "When are you going to reward me with a contract beast?" Don't worry. Jun Changshao said, "As long as your performance is outstanding enough, there will be one sooner or later." He couldn't wait to give each of his disciples an exclusive contract beast, but his financial strength didn't allow it, so he could only slowly accumulate wealth in the future and equip them with it. Ah Nyo has a condor, you can save 10 million. Yi Xingchen's condor had also ascended, but because of its strength, it spent most of its time cultivating in the mountains. There were many spirit beasts of different levels in the Iron Bone Mountain, and the number far exceeded that of the Sect's disciples. Furthermore, it was led by the Purple King, so it was not a problem to arrange a contract beast for each of the disciples. However, that was just an ordinary one. The beast eggs in the Spirit Beast Pavilion were all rare and exotic beasts. Not only could they be used as contract beasts to fight alongside their masters, they also had many other benefits. For example, when Li Qingyang returned to his residence and cultivated as usual, he realized that his absorption and understanding of the thunder attribute had increased by a lot. That's not right. I didn't eat the profound cultivation pill at all. Just as Li Qingyang was puzzled, he suddenly realized that the thunder rhinoceros beast lying beside him was enveloped in a dense thunder attribute, absorbing a lot of pure energy as it breathed. At the same time, he felt that his understanding and knowledge of the thunder attribute was also increasing bit by bit as the other party swallowed the attribute, so he exclaimed, "It can help me cultivate?" In order to confirm this guess, Li Qingyang stopped cultivating and stared at the thunder rhinoceros beast breathing again and again. In the end, he came to the conclusion that even if he didn't use the mental cultivation method to absorb the heaven and earth attribute, it still had a subtle improvement in the thunder attribute. Not bad. This was the characteristic of the beast eggs in the spirit beast pavilion. As long as it hatched and established a contract relationship with the warrior, its own cultivation would also improve the master. Of course. The master's improvement would also improve the contract beast. In short, Jun Changxiao's contract with Page and the Purple Lightning Spirit Tiger belonged to the ordinary level, while Li Qingyang's contract with the Thunder Rhinoceros Beast belonged to the advanced level. To explain it in professional terms, this was a natal contract. Warriors could form natal weapons and treasures and achieve perfect communication to increase their combat strength. Masters and servants under a natal contract could also improve their strength, and they could even share martial arts and resources in real time. Fuck. Jun Changxiao was surprised when he heard this. Is it that amazing? The second disciple and the Thunder Rhinoceros Beast could share experience, so their cultivation speed would definitely be faster. Moreover, beasts didn't need martial arts or mental cultivation methods. They could become stronger just by breathing, which meant, they could also become stronger while lying down and sleeping. The system said, there are flaws. What flaws? Although the second disciple and the Thunder Rhinoceros Beast can share experience, they will also share damage. If either of them is heavily injured, the other will be injured. Jun Changxiao said, that's pretty fucked up. Of course. The system said, with a contract beast that can share experience, the disciples will definitely improve faster, and they can also fight together. Overall, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Makes sense. Jun Changxiao rubbed his chin and said, after the pharmacy's settlement next month, we'll free up some funds to equip Qianqian and the others with contract beasts. Hatching the Thunder Rhinoceros egg was an internal test, and the results were satisfactory, so the core disciples would definitely be equipped. It was just a matter of time. Gosheng didn't dare to think this way without the huge profits brought by the ancient elixir pharmacy. After all, hatching an egg cost tens of millions of magnetite. The importance of the Sect's business was immediately reflected. Whoosh! Whoosh! In a mountain forest far away from the Sect of all times, dozens of black shadows that seemed to be shrouded in lightning moved quickly. Big brother, there's news from the clan. The egg hatched in the thunder pool has been born. Have you confirmed the location? Not yet. Damn it, the upper realm is so big. Without an accurate location, how can we find it? This group of black shadows at least confirmed that the egg had been born. The dozens of other clans that were searching in other directions didn't have any clues at all, and could only run around like flies. In the incomparably vast hall of the Realm Hall, a few elders were also discussing. One of them said in a low voice, recently, all the major clans have come into being. Could it be that they want to completely shed all pretense of cordiality and violate the friendly agreement that was made tens of thousands of years ago? Humph, an elder said coldly, I've said it before. Those who aren't of our clan will definitely have different intentions. We shouldn't have made the agreement back then and let them develop steadily for so many years. Report. At this time, someone came to meet them and said, the Dragon Clan is also moving. What? A few elders immediately stood up and said with furrowed brows, even the Dragon Clan is starting to get restless. I'm afraid this isn't a good sign. Chapter 1379. The upper realm was indeed a little restless during this period of time. Clans that rarely set foot in the secular world had begun to take action. The initiator, Jun Changxiao, did not know that the entire world had become turbulent because of him. At this moment, he was peacefully continuing to farm and earn money in the sect. Obtaining huge profits with very little capital. If the eternal elixir pharmacy continued to develop, the accumulated wealth would definitely be terrifying. Even if in the end, the wealth would become a pile of numbers, who would complain about having too little money? Therefore, Jun Changshao began to think, should he open branches in other cities, or buy other businesses? No. We don't have enough manpower and materials. Let's develop the elixir pharmacy in Lin Yuan City first, then consider expanding the business. After all, it was not a one-key refinement like the elixir pavilion. The supply of elixirs required sufficient manpower. At present, Feng Guichen was the only pitiful alchemist in the sect, so he could not always make 997. Patriarch. Li Luoqiu walked into the main hall and said, Yuan Gongzi sent a letter saying that many clans in the field of medicinal herbs are willing to establish a long-term cooperative relationship with us. Not only did the upper realms version of Patriarch AI come, but there was also a large group of them. In this month, the Eternal Elixir Pharmacy had become popular in the surrounding areas. Any medicinal herb merchant with a bit of eyesight all hoped to provide a source of medicinal herbs. Tell Old Yuan that we can cooperate with them, but the medicinal herbs need to be supplied according to our requirements. Jun Changshao said. Ordinary medicinal herbs were definitely unable to refine high-quality elixirs. The reason why they still wanted to buy them was that they could use them to refine the first transformation shaping pill. The medicinal herbs contained in the nourishing earth were refined into high-quality elixirs to attack the market and earn more profits for the sect. Ordinary medicinal herbs were used to refine the system's elixirs to strengthen the strength of the disciples. Li Luoqiu hurriedly sent the news to Lin Yuan City. After Yuan Gongzi received the news, he immediately called the people in charge of several medicinal herbs businesses and began to negotiate seriously. To put it bluntly, they were bargaining. After an hour of discussion, the people in charge of the various clans walked out in a daze. They swore in their hearts that they had never seen such a stingy person in their lives. A few days later, a large number of medicinal herbs were transported over from Lin Yuan City. After Jun Changshao took a look at them one by one, he said in surprise, the price is so cheap. If only Gosheng knew that young Master Yuan's spittle was flying all over the place at the negotiating table, and he almost made the other party cry, he would understand why the price was so cheap. Swoosh! He opened the elixir pavilion, matched the number of shaping pills, and started the one-button production. After a period of time, all the pills were refined. Jun Changshao couldn't help but sigh with emotion, it's still easier to cheat. The system said, if the host sells this kind of pill, the profits will definitely be higher. Me too. Jun Changshao rolled his eyes and said, the disciples haven't been popularized yet. How can there be any extra to sell? The freshly made shaping pills were distributed one after another. More and more disciples benefited and continued to focus on their cultivation. It had been a few months since they ascended, and the overall strength of the sect of all times could be said to be rising steadily. However, they still couldn't be compared to the Xian sections. After all, their top strength was only supported by the black and white double breaks. How can I become stronger faster? Jun Changshao pondered. Simple. The system said, go to the shop. Jun Changshao said helplessly, I want to, but my strength doesn't allow me to. During this period of time, there hadn't been any missions, and his contribution points had been stuck at 40,000. It was really difficult to cook without rice. I've been cooped up at home all day, how can there be missions? Ding! Side mission activated. System, if you know how to talk, then talk more. Jun Chang laughed. Whether or not I can become stronger in the future will all depend on you, the face-slapping poison healer system. He opened the system interface. The mission content was attend the sect conference at Lingfeng Mountain at the beginning of next month. It's that simple. Jun Changshao was stunned. It wasn't to kill monsters or level up, it was just to attend a conference. The mission given was really not difficult at all. The system muttered, although the mission is simple, with the host's personality, it will definitely be a unique conference. Impossible. Jun Changshao said solemnly, I'll just go and listen to how the leaders of the various sects are bragging. I won't cause any trouble. In fact, whether it was the lower realm or the upper realm, it was normal for the major sects to hold a conference today and a conference tomorrow. After all, everyone was in the same circle and needed to interact with each other. Jun Changshao had just arrived and was unfamiliar with the place. Even if it wasn't for the mission, he was naturally willing to broaden his horizons after learning about this. Lingfeng Mountain, he took out the map, confirmed the location, and said, it's not too far away. If we set off now, we should be able to reach at the beginning of next month. With the appearance of the side mission, Jun Changshao was motivated. He began to arrange the internal affairs of the sect and decided to set off tomorrow morning. After knowing that he was going to attend the conference between the sects, Rows of Flowers questioned him continuously, do they approve of you? Did they let you attend? This, Jun Changshao shrugged indifferently and said, we'll talk about it when I get there. Rows of Flowers said, I'm afraid that if you don't attend the conference, you'll be collectively targeted and cause a lot of trouble. You must be kidding. Jun Changshao said proudly, my master is Jinren Tonggu. Who dares to collectively target him? At this moment, Jinren Tonggu, who was playing chess with his friend in the distance, gradually felt a subtle ominous feeling in his heart. It was a far cry from the feeling of the old Taishian. Strange. He put down a chess piece and wondered, why do I feel uneasy? His friend sitting opposite him held a chess piece and said seriously, recently, the major clans have been mobilizing. I'm afraid that there will be new turmoil in this already unstable world. Jinren Tonggu smiled and said, this has nothing to do with us. Naturally, there's no need to pay attention to it. Sigh. His friend shook his head and said, I'm just afraid that when the time comes, it'll be difficult to truly protect ourselves and will be involved. After saying that, he put down a chess piece. Then you're underestimating my Taoist heart. Jinren Tonggu smiled and said. His indifferent and disillusioned demeanor became more intense. By the way. His friend asked, I heard that you and Guhong have a duel and that your disciple will decide the outcome for you. That's right. Jinren Tonggu nodded and said. His friend said, since you can come to me to play chess, you must have found a suitable disciple, right? Yes. How's his aptitude? At the mention of his new disciple, a smile appeared on Jinren Tonggu's face. He said, he brought a mountain that carries the sect and forcefully resisted the heavenly thunder formation of 10,000 tribulations to ascend. Do you think this disciple of mine has a future? Oh. His friend said in surprise, is it the mountain that caused the vision of heaven and earth before? Yes. Tisk, tsk, tsk. You've taken in a hot potato. What do you mean? Bringing a sect and forcefully ascending is really against the way of heaven. Even if he survives the heavenly thunder formation of 10,000 tribulations, he'll definitely be targeted by the Jie Hall. If he makes any mistakes in the future, as his master, you'll definitely have to deal with the consequences. This, Jinren Tonggu's smile gradually froze. Although he didn't care about the Jie Hall, it was still an organization that managed the entire world on the surface. If they insisted on messing with his disciple, then, they could try. Chapter 1380. Spirit Peak Mountain. It was a rather famous mountain in the upper realm, as many sects like to discuss the Tao here. At this moment, on the ancient stairs leading to the mountain, martial artists from the surrounding sects were walking together. Jun Changshao was among them, but because he was wearing a black robe and walking with his head lowered, he did not have much of a presence. Senior brother, why is he alone? Maybe he's an itinerant cultivator who came all the way here to watch the show. The martial artists walking on the mountain path were all in groups, except for Jun Changshao. Therefore, no matter how low-key he was like a firefly in the dark, so bright and so outstanding. Many sects had come to the Spirit Peak Mountain meeting this time, but their overall strength was not strong, and the martial artists' cultivation levels were uneven. I thought it was going to be a conference with more standards. Jun Changshao shook his head, and decided in his heart that he would return to the sect immediately after completing the side mission. The system was speechless. Can the host withstand the aura of those top sects if he participates in a conference of those top sects? His own sect was considered inferior in the upper realm, and yet he had the cheek to look down on others. Following the stairs to the top of the mountain, what appeared in his field of vision was an empty space that had been artificially leveled. Martial artists from various sects were gathered there, and this reminded Jun Changshao of the Hua Mountain Martial Arts Symposium and Palace Master Shi. Stop! Just as he was about to walk over, he was stopped by a martial artist, who said in a low voice, "A sect meeting is being held here, non-sect members are prohibited from entering." Jun Changshao said, "Which eye of yours can tell that I'm not from a sect?" "Left eye and right eye," the martial artist said lightly. Jun Changshao shook his head and said, "Then I'd advise you to get your eyes treated quickly, lest you go blind in the future." That martial artist was instantly enraged. Jun Changshao ignored him, and then shouted in a clear voice, "Patriarch of the sect of all times, Jun Changshao, has come to participate in the Spirit Peak Mountain meeting." As he spoke, the aura of a sect leader completely erupted. When he was being funny, Go Sheng was very funny. But when he was serious, Go Sheng was still very funny. Sect of all times. The upper echelons of the various sects who were flattering each other turned their heads one after another, and all of their eyes were filled with astonishment. Everyone was in the southeast region. Naturally, they had heard of this sect that had ascended. Moreover, they knew that the Imperial Sword Profound Sect and the Soaring Blade Profound Sect had suffered losses before. "It's him. I once saw it at the foot of the mountain." Before this, when the various sects went to the myriad ancient immortal mountain to look for trouble, there were people who went over to join in the fun. They had seen Jun Changshao's true appearance before. A newly ascended sect actually dares to participate in an alliance meeting like ours? Do they really think they're big shots? One of the sect's upper echelons said unhappily. Although none of the sects present had reached the Xian level, this did not prevent them from taking advantage of their seniority. Jun Changshao said, "Don't you welcome Jun? Little guy." An elder said, "Although you're the leader of a sect, you're still new here. Wait until you've established your footing in the upper realm before you come to participate in the alliance meeting." His words were very gentle, but it was obvious that he was telling Jun Changshao that the sect of all times did not have the qualifications to participate in this discussion. Elder Lon. A rather elegant middle-aged man said, "You can't say that. After all, the sect of all times is still a sect. Since they came from afar to participate, how can we reject them?" Jun Changshao cast a grateful look. Although there were so many martial artists from the various sects who did not openly look down on him, the disdain in their eyes was enough to explain the problem. Only this person stood up to speak up for him. The system said, "Is the upper realms version of the Tsangshan sect about to appear?" Jun Patriarch. The elegant middle-aged man cupped his hands and said, "Please come in." "Thank you." Jun Changshao cupped his hands, then ignored the martial artist in front of him and walked towards the platform that was paved with some kind of special stone. Ding! Side mission completed. Host received 200,000 contribution points. Ding! Sect contribution points, 240000. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the side mission. Hidden rewards, Experience Talisman X1, Kiliacosm Shadow Clone Technique X1. The secret manual was given. Jun Changshao hurriedly entered the spatial ring and found a yellowed book appearing. Sorry. In the outside world, he cupped his hands and said, "I still have something to do, so I'll go back first." Since the mission was completed and he was given a secret manual, he definitely had to go back and study it. There was no need to continue participating in these flattering and boasting activities. The martial artists from the various sects were stunned. You were the one who wanted to come in, and now you want to turn around and leave? Are you not taking the sect alliance seriously? June Patriarch. The elegant middle-aged man smiled and said, the sect alliance of Lingfeng Mountain is only held once every few years. Since you're already here, why don't you stay and broaden your horizons? All right. Seeing that the other party spoke up for him, Jun Changshao gave up the idea of leaving. After all, even if there wasn't much nutrition, it wouldn't waste much time. The Imperial Sword Sect is here. Suddenly, a martial artist's shout came from the staircase. Damn! Why is this sect also participating? Jun Changshao didn't know that the Lingfeng Mountain Alliance that was held every few years was organized by the Imperial Sword Sect and other Xian sects. Swish! Swish! At this moment, the upper echelons of the Imperial Sword Sect strode up the mountain. The one at the front was a white-haired old man in his 70s. Not only was his gaze as sharp as a sword, but it was also emitting a threatening sword aura. Greetings to the Qiao Patriarch. The elders of the various sects cupped their hands politely. Jun Changshao's expression was even more interesting. The one who came was actually the Patriarch. Is it too late for me to disappear now? Patriarch Qiao. The elegant middle-aged man pointed at Jun Changshao and took the initiative to introduce, this is the Patriarch of the sect of all times. He was smiling. His smile was full of meaning. Jun Changshao wasn't a fool. He immediately understood that the other party took the initiative to help him, but in fact, they were trying to trap him. Damn it! You people from the upper realm really know how to play. System, I've been slapped in the face again, but I'm not affected at all. Oh. Xiao Baisho's gaze became even colder. His third transformation core cultivation completely erupted, as if it had turned into sharp swords that ruthlessly stabbed forward. Stealing the flying sword and extorting the Xian stones, it was understandable that he would be targeted. Jun Changshao, who had weathered many storms, stood proudly in place, allowing the sword-like aura to press down on him. He said indifferently, so it's the Patriarch of the Imperial Sword Sect. It's an honor to meet you. Jun Patriarch. Xiao Baisho said indifferently, there are many debts between our sects that have yet to be settled. If it wasn't for the fact that he was the leader of a Xian sect, he might have already taken out his sword and attacked. He. Jun Changshao responded with a dry smile. At this moment, what else could he say? The Imperial Sword Sect is here. At this moment, another person shouted. A few martial artists with heavy auras walked to the top of the mountain and swaggered towards the platform. Damn it! Another enemy has come. Patriarch Qiao, the elegant middle-aged man with a knife hidden behind his smile introduced again, this is the Patriarch of the sect of all times. Damn it! Jun Changshao cursed in his heart, I'll remember you. Chapter 1381. The Imperial Sword Sect and the Sharp Blade Sect, these two sects who had a grudge with each other, met again. They did not oppose each other, but instead locked onto Jun Changshao. After all, they were a common enemy. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! On Lingfeng Mountain, the power of swords and sabers erupted. The martial artists from various sects were very perceptive. They all took a few steps back and made space suitable for battle. Although Jun Changshao stood straight, he was actually a little panicked. I came here purely to listen to the big shots brag. How did it end up like this? Kid. The Patriarch of the Sharp Blade Sect, Mo Kain, said coldly, draw a line. People who practiced the saber tended to be straightforward and did not know how to beat around the bush. There was only one word to describe it, and that was to fight. Sorry. Jun Changshao said, I'm here to participate in the martial arts competition, not to fight. If you want to fight, let's meet another day. Go Sheng was not scared, but he was in a hurry to return to the sect to study the secret manuals. Ding! Side mission triggered. Jun Changshao collapsed in his heart. This must be forcing me to fight. That was right. He pulled open the mission panel. The content was defeat the Patriarch of the Imperial Sword Sect 1 and the Patriarch of the Sharp Blade Sect 1. Look. The system said firmly, only by walking around more can you get more missions. Although that was the case, the two mystic level Patriarch strength were at the third transition level. Moreover, one was proficient in the way of the sword and the other in the way of the saber. He did not bring any helpers, how could he defeat them? The system said, the system is only responsible for issuing missions. Whether or not you can complete them depends on the host. Jun Changshao wanted to curse. Kid. Mo Kain sneered and said, that's not up to you. Boom. A heavy saber was placed in front of him. It was engraved with complicated patterns. From the flashing light around it, one could tell that the quality was not low. Since the mission was here, he must fight. However, Jun Changshao was still pondering in his heart. Should he use the unstoppable blade, or should he use? That's right, and the talismans from the upper realm gift pack. Ta! Jun Changshao took a step forward, and the great sage Sect gradually covered his body. He said proudly, then let's fight. Although he was 2 job transitions away from the other party, he had the special effects set and the talismans from the big gift pack. He didn't believe that he couldn't defeat him. Swoosh! Whoosh! The martial artists of the various sects quickly retreated far away, leaving the area paved with stone slabs empty. They were just short of taking out small stools and holding watermelons to watch the show. Whoo! A cold wind blew, and the atmosphere was somber. Crack! Mo Kain shook his head, and the sound of bones cracking could be heard. The heavy saber standing in front of him glowed even brighter, as if it was unusually hungry and thirsty. Brat! Mo Kain grabbed the hilt of his saber with one hand and said, show me your weapon. This king disdains to bully an unarmed person. He was particular about people. Jun Changshao shook his head and said, I like to solve problems with my fists. It wasn't that they didn't want to take out their weapons to fight, but compared to the broadsword with all of its special effects, sky-dominating spear and Ask the Heavens sword would definitely be crushed. No. Jun Changshao said to himself, I still need to think of a way to get some equipment. The system said, the upgraded divine weapon wielding rivers and mountains has not been eliminated. The host can take it out and use it. Right. Jun Changshao hurriedly took out the divine weapon wielding rivers and mountains that had been lying in his spatial ring for so long that it was about to form a spider web. When everyone saw that it was a stylus, they immediately laughed. There was no other way. The upgraded divine weapon wielding rivers and mountains was really from a poor family. It was simple and unadorned. There was no way it could compare to the dragon-slaying saber. Mo Kain raised his eyebrows and said, you want to have a literary battle? Martial battle. Jun Changshao grabbed the divine weapon wielding rivers and mountains, and his body immediately erupted with an aura that could swallow mountains and rivers. With a divine weapon, there would naturally be a divine weapon wielding rivers and mountains. However, when Mo Kain raised his saber, his rank 3 cultivation erupted. No matter what kind of aura you had, no matter what kind of background music you had, they would all be suppressed. Boom! The saber flashed, shaking the mountains. Thump, thump, thump. Jun Changshao retreated continuously. When he stabilized his body, he grimaced and said to himself, a rank 3 revolving core realm is so strong. Nonsense. The system said, rank 1 to 9 in the upper realm is not the same as rank 1 to 9 in the lower realm. As the saying goes, a woman 3 years older than her husband holds a golden brick. The difference in rank is like a mountain. Fuck. Jun Changshao said, copy the narration. Whoosh! Suddenly, Mo Kain swung his saber over. His own strength and the power of his weapon burst forth. It could be said to be earth-shattering. Lord Grimm was holding a simple and unadorned pen in his hand. It was as if he was a level 0 player facing a pay-to-win warrior. Boom! The saber slashed over heavily. Although Go Shing avoided it, he was still forced back by the airwave and special effects. There's no suspense. Absolute suppression in strength. Who gave him the courage to stand out and challenge Patriarch Mo one-on-one? From the short exchange, the martial artists could see that Jun Changshao had some skills and thought that he would definitely lose after a few more moves. Whoosh! Whoosh! Mo Kain swung his saber, and light and shadow burst out instantly. Obviously, this guy was showing off his skills, letting the various sects see his perfect saber technique. Swish! Swish! Jun Changshao was powerless to resist and could only retreat step by step. If it were other rank 1 revolving core realm cultivators, they would not have the ability to dodge at all. Whoosh whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! The saber shadows crisscrossed, and the speed gradually increased. Jun Changshao unlocked all kinds of embarrassing dodges and realized that he was really weak in the upper realm. Kid! Mo Kain gathered his true energy on his saber and said coldly, is this all you can do? Whoosh! He raised his saber and slashed over fiercely, instantly forming 3 saber auras close to the ground like extremely sharp claws and teeth. Ka ka ka! The ground cracked, and saber marks spread everywhere. It's over. Everyone shook their heads. Ding! 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 Suddenly, a crisp collision sound was heard, causing them to gradually widen their eyes because that guy did not dodge in front of the 3 powerful saber auras. Instead, he made a gesture of turning into a Buddha and used his body to block them. Huh! Mo Kain's eyes were full of surprise. He could clearly feel that the other party's exposed skin was gradually turning into stone, especially when he slashed his body. It was like slashing a lump of iron. Swish! At this moment, Jun Changshao approached in an instant, and his true energy gathered in his right fist and blasted over. From taking a step to attacking, the whole process could be said to have happened in a flash. All Mo Kain could do was to hold his saber horizontally in front of him. Boom! A deafening explosion was heard, and the entire Lingfeng mountain shook violently. Thump thump thump! At the point of the explosion, Mo Kain held his saber and quickly retreated until he was 10 feet away. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood. All the martial artists from various sects were dumbfounded. Because not only was the face of the patriarch of the Lingdao sect pale, but the saber in front of him was dented with a fist mark, and dense cracks appeared around it, as if it would collapse at any time. Swish! Jun Changshao retracted his fist, looked at Xiao Baisho who was in a daze in the distance, and said lightly, it's your turn. At this time, the audience's eyes gradually widened, because this guy's skin, hair, eyebrows, and eyes had all turned golden. In the distance. It was like an abandoned land lying quietly on the ground, watching its master show off. Chapter 1382. Mo Kain's cultivation level was high and his equipment was good. Jun Changshao could not beat him, so it was only a matter of time before he was defeated. It did not matter. Go Sheng was able to survive until now not because of how strong he was, but because he could cheat even if he could not beat his opponent. After a short fight, he was forced to retreat by his opponent's magnificent saber with special effects. He had no choice but to crush the Vajra talisman that he had prepared beforehand. A powerful and special energy instantly spread throughout his body and quickly strengthened every inch of his skin and meridians, turning them from stone to gold. In Buddhist terms, Vajra represented absolute firmness and indestructibility. Therefore, when the talisman's effect was fully activated, Jun Changxiao's physical defense level soared crazily, and he easily took on the three powerful saber auras. Of course. Because his muscles and meridians had turned into Vajra, his strength had also increased. At first, Jun Changxiao planned to use the special effect of pen-wielding landscape when his opponent was unprepared. However, when he realized that his strength was exploding, he threw it away without hesitation and attacked with his fists instead. Not only did he force Mo Kain back, he also almost destroyed the special effect saber. Fuck. The talisman from the big gift pack is too terrifying. Go Sheng himself was surprised. He was surprised that with the help of the Vajra talisman, the increase in his physical strength was earth-shattering. Unfortunately, there was only one. If he could obtain this formula from the shop and mass-produce it, not only would he not have to fear the stronger powerhouses, his disciples would also be able to do whatever they wanted in the upper realm. At this time, Go Sheng was no longer the Go Sheng who was determined to break free from the system and seek independence. His eyes and heart were filled with the law of the universe. It felt good to cheat. It felt good to cheat all the time. Ding! Defeated Ling Dao Sect Patriarch 1/1. Swoosh! Taking advantage of the 60-minute duration of the talisman, Jun Changxiao proudly pointed at Xiao Baisho and said, "It's your turn." Every movement and every subtle expression revealed an extremely strong sense of pretentiousness. The eagerness to return to the sect to study the secret manual was completely gone. Xiao Baisho's mouth twitched. In terms of strength, there was not much difference between him and his old enemy Mo Kain. The latter vomited blood from a punch and his weapon was almost destroyed. If it was him, he might not be able to withstand it. Furthermore, this fellow's entire body suddenly turned golden and emitted a powerful aura. It was obvious that he had used some kind of profound divine ability. What is it? Jun Changxiao said disdainfully, is a Xian patriarch going to admit defeat in public? Shua! An upper echelon of the Imperial Sword Sect stepped out and shouted angrily, "This old man will fight you." This was because he could tell that Jun Changxiao was very strong, and the patriarch would definitely be able to take advantage of him if he went up. Thus, he decided to face the battle himself. Even if he lost, he would only lose face as an elder. Boom! Suddenly, the shadow of a fist appeared and flew out in an instant. Jun Changxiao, whose entire body was shrouded in a golden aura, stood in the area where that person was standing with his fists raised. He said coldly, "You, an elder of a sect, are not qualified to challenge me." After cheating, Go Sheng was extremely arrogant. Perhaps only when he was seriously acting cool would he be able to fit the serious label of this book, and not bark like a dog when he found something good. All the spectators were dumbfounded. This patriarch of the sect of all times was in a difficult situation at the beginning. How did he suddenly become so strong? What kind of divine ability did he use to turn his skin color, hair, and even eyes golden? At this moment, the most embarrassed person was Xiao Baisho. His elder was sent flying by a domineering punch and was lying on the ground unconscious for half a day. If he didn't express his stance, how could he continue to stay in the sect circle? Ta! He stepped forward. At this moment, Jun Changxiao was at his strongest stage. However, as the patriarch of the Imperial Sword Sect, he had already said that he wanted to settle the score. He could only bite the bullet and do it because it concerned the entire sect's reputation. Clang! Xiao Baisho took out his sword and said, "Come." Shua! Shua! Jun Changxiao rushed over quickly, and a powerful golden aura came crashing over. The pressure was so strong that the space around him started to distort. Although Xiao Baisho was a bit discouraged, he couldn't just sit there and wait for his death. He immediately used his true energy to control his sword, and dozens of sword auras appeared in front of him. He shouted, "Flying Immortal Shadow Sword! Xiao! Xiao!" The dozens of sword auras that gathered in front of him instantly intertwined and attacked. The special effect was not inferior to Mo Kaien's treasured saber at all. Boom! Boom! Jun Changshao was fearless. He rushed forward in large strides, and his fists were filled with extreme power, breaking the powerful sword auras that were coming at him. The spectators trembled in fear as they watched. The scene of Qiao Baisho using his physical body to resist the top sword moves of the Patriarch of the Imperial Sword Sect was too shocking. One step, two steps, when Jun Changshao broke the last sword aura, he was only a few feet away from his target. He suddenly took a big step forward and attacked Mo Kaien in the same way as he did. Qiao Baisho, who was already prepared, wanted to dodge. However, he suddenly felt that the area he wanted to escape from was suddenly filled with a powerful true energy, and it gradually condensed into a powerful palm print. Not good. Heaven-crossing palm print. Jun Changshao used the first martial art he had learned since he came to the upper realm that could be used in a real battle. Thanks to the special effects of his roar, Jun Changshao used the first martial art he had learned since coming to the upper realm. Boom! With the support of the Vajra talisman, the heaven-crossing palm print carried a violent force, and it came from the side like a fly swatter. Qiao Baisho, who had nowhere to hide, was not only sent flying, but also sunk into the mountain in the distance. Silence. Complete silence. The faces of the martial artists from various sects stiffened. Strictly speaking, although Mo Kaien was sent flying by a single punch, they had exchanged a few moves before. On the other hand, Qiao Baisho was completely defeated by a single palm print. Ding! Defeated Patriarch of the Imperial Sword Sect 1. Ding! Side mission completed. Host receives 500,000 contribution points. Ding! Congratulations to host for completing the side mission. Hidden rewards, experience Talisman X2, Sect Function Upgrade X1. After hearing the notification, Jun Changshao did not show any joy on his face. Instead, he withdrew his attacking stance and picked up the writing brush of rivers and mountains. He said calmly, "Patriarch, after today's battle at Lingfeng Mountain, I hope that our enmity will be resolved. Goodbye." Under everyone's gaze, Go Xing left confidently. Unbelievable. A guy who just ascended was actually able to defeat two Mystic Patriarch in seconds. The elders of various sects discussed fervently. Especially when they recalled the violent golden energy that spread over, their minds were still in absolute shock. The two Mystic Patriarchs' weapons and martial arts were all maxed out in terms of special effects. However, when faced with Jun Changshao's simple and unadorned appearance, they could only be reduced to fancy tricks. There was no other way. Whether it was working hard or spending money, it was not worth mentioning in front of a hack that could modify data. Let's go, let's go. Because Qiao Baisho and Mo Kaien were heavily injured, the various sects were no longer in the mood to hold a discussion. Thus, they all left Lingfeng Mountain. However, boom! Boom! Not far from the foot of the mountain, the scholarly middle-aged man's head was pressed against the wall by a golden figure under the eyes of his fellow sect members. Jun Changshao originally planned to leave, but he remembered that he still had a debt to settle. Thus, he purposely stopped and waited until he caught this guy who played tricks on him. Boom! After pressing his head against the wall again, Go Xing threw the half-dead scholarly middle-aged man on the ground. Then, he looked at his fellow sect members and said in a demonic voice, "Let him die, or pay up. Pay up. 100 million. Ah." Chapter 1383. The scholarly man was the patriarch of Fuqian sect, Pei Sili. This guy had a hobby, which was to watch a good show. He did not mind if things got out of hand. After knowing Jun Changshao's identity, he remembered that Jun Changshao had a grudge with the Sword Mystic sect and the Sharp Blade Mystic sect, so he started to play tricks. Indeed. Under Pei Sili's provocation, he watched a good show, but the result was that Jun Changshao remembered it. Go Sheng, who always liked to trick others, definitely could not stand being tricked. He would first beat the other party up, then he would say a small goal. You heard me right. Jun Changshao rubbed Pei Sili's face with the sole of his shoe and said, if you want him to live, pay 100 million magnetite. This was really an exorbitant demand. Jun Patriarch. An elder wanted to cry but had no tears. Even if our Fuqian sect sold everything we had, we would not be able to take out so many magnetite. Even a mystic rank sect would suffer heavy losses if they were to take out 100 million magnetite, let alone an ordinary sect. This is your problem, not mine. If he can't pay 100 million magnetite, he must die today. Jun Changshao said coldly. If they did not see the patriarch lying on the ground and looking at them in pain, the higher-ups of the sect would probably say that it was better to let him die. Jun Patriarch. Pei Sili took out a map with difficulty and said weakly, I have treasures, oh. Jun Changshao waved his hand and took it. He realized that it was a very ordinary map of the upper realm, so he said coldly, do you think I'm a fool? Jun Patriarch. The elder said hurriedly, although this map is ordinary, there is a natural magnetite mine marked with a red circle on it. Only he and Pei Sili knew about this, and it was supposed to be a secret. Now that the patriarch took it out to save his life, he could only come clean. Really? Absolutely. Jun Changshao thought for a moment and moved his foot away from Pei Sili's face. He said lightly, take out everything of value you have. Since we're all from the same sect, I'll spare your patriarch's life. It was indeed unrealistic to ask for 100 million. He could only take as much as he could get. Moreover, the location marked on the map belonged to the depths of the dark forest. Perhaps there really was an undiscovered mineral vein. Good. All right. The sect elders all threw their spatial rings over. Jun Changshao took off Pei Sili's spatial ring. After an inventory check, he obtained more than 1 million profound stones and various common herbs. Therefore, he said speechlessly, you guys are really poor. Boom. He kicked Pei Sili over and said, if you dare to provoke me again, I'll make you wish you were dead. I'll remember it, scram. Pei Sili was helped up by a few elders. Then, he disappeared from the spot as fast as he could. Jun Changshao didn't stop. He stepped on the road to the immemorial Immortal Mountain. After walking for more than 10 minutes, the effect of the Vajra talisman ended, and he returned to normal. Hey! There are no side effects. The system said, you obtained 700,000 contribution points, 3 experience talismans, and a martial arts secret manual. Is it worth it? It's okay. Jun Changshao said as he took out the map. He thought to himself, if there really is a hidden mineral vein, then I really have to hurry over to take a look. I don't want the other party to beat me to it. It feels a little unreliable. The system said, maybe the place marked is a dragon's lair or a tiger's den. Jun Changshao, who was originally a little worried, heard that the system was working again, and his confidence increased. He said, it's settled. The area marked on the map was northwest of the immemorial Immortal Mountain. Therefore, Jun Changshao went back to the sect first. Then, he brought the black and white double ghosts with him to investigate. Rows of flowers also followed. The reason was that after learning about what happened at Lingfeng Mountain, she was worried that her husband would be bullied again. If the patriarch of the sword-controlling mystic sect and the sharp-blade mystic sect, who had already entered recuperation mode, knew about this, he would definitely roar, it's this cheater who bullied us, not the other way around. Patriarch. On the way, the Black Rakshasa said seriously, the area marked on the map has been untouched for years. We must be careful when we go in, lest we alarm powerful monsters. The beasts in the Starfall continent were divided into ferocious beasts, spirit beasts, and holy beasts. In the upper realm, they were collectively called monsters. For example, the Purple King's monster came from the monster of monsters. Speaking of this guy who took off his clothes when he fought, one couldn't help but talk about his experience with Yi Xingqian and the others. Demon King's Lair. One of the famous forbidden areas in the upper realm. At this moment, Yi Xingqian, Xiao Ziji, and He Wudi were in a complicated cave. They were running with their tongues out, and behind them were hundreds of extremely ugly monsters. These were ferocious beasts. Their species was unknown, but their appearance was revolting. Whenever people mentioned the Demon King's cave, they would subconsciously think of the ferocious beasts. This was because they lived here all year round and liked to live in groups. According to the relevant departments, there were at least tens of thousands of them in the depths of the cave. Once they set their sights on prey, they would all move out. The so-called depths of the cave were the most dangerous area in the Demon King's cave. In other words, Yi Xingqian and the others who were running wildly did not follow their original plan to train at the periphery. Instead, they went straight into the most veritable forbidden area. No. They were still at the periphery, or even the outermost periphery. When they first came here, the three brothers had fought with demonic beasts of similar strength, so their actual combat experience had greatly improved. If that was the case, how did they attract the ferocious beasts that lived in groups in the depths of the cave? This matter started a few days ago. The Purple King, who was in charge of protecting them, felt bored and went into the depths of the cave alone. Not long after he went in, he ran out with a dense pack of ferocious beasts chasing after him. At first, Yi Xingqian and He Wudi did not think much of it. They even did some stretching and chest stretching. It was only when they saw more and more ferocious beasts that they realized the seriousness of the problem. Thus, they ran wildly with their tongues out. If it was only one ferocious beast whose strength was comparable to Wu Xing's great perfection, the three brothers would have no problem defeating it if they worked together. However, there were hundreds and thousands of them. Who the hell could withstand this? Patriarch. The Hall Master you found was not to protect us, but to increase the difficulty of our training. At the very least, it should be super hell mode now. Boom. 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 At the edge of the depths of the cave, the Purple King wore pink boxing gloves and red underwear. It was as if he had transformed into a professional boxer. He threw a left hook and a right hook, sending the ferocious beasts flying. He said, "With me here, no one can hurt the people of the sect of all times." If Li Qingyang and the other disciples who did not know the truth saw this, they would definitely cheer for Hall Master Zi's actions. However, Yi Xingqian and the other two who were running in the tunnel far away almost vomited blood. Damn it! He was the one who caused the trouble, and he still had the face to act like a chicken. Roar! Roar! Suddenly, dozens of ferocious beasts that looked like mad dogs rushed out from another tunnel. Be careful! Xiao Ziji, who was at the back, unleashed his cultivation and pushed Yi Xingqian and He Wudi out. He shouted, "Shield Mountain! Buzz buzz buzz!" The exclusive divine weapon, Cloud Boat Hero, appeared with the background music of Digimon's evolution. Then, it quickly formed shield-shaped defensive barriers in front of its owner. Bang bang bang! Boom! Xiao Ziji instantly endured the fierce attacks of dozens of ferocious beasts. His entire body crashed into the nearby stone wall. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face also became extremely pale. Senior brother Xiao. He Wudi stabilized himself and shouted. However, he was completely stunned in the next second. This was because Yi Xingqian, who was standing beside him, bent over and lowered his head. Gradually, death sacrifice was gathering under his right palm. It was as if the god of death had descended. He said in a sinister voice, "All of you must die." Chapter 1384. Devil King's Cave, the outermost area. Because the Purple King was unable to completely block off the path, a large number of ferocious beasts either crawled out from the crotch of his pants or took a detour from other intersections, causing Yi Xingqian, Xiao Ziji, and He Wudi to immediately fall into a predicament. This was especially true for Xiao Zuiji. Although he had protected his two junior apprentice brothers from the fierce attacks of dozens of demonic beasts comparable to martial saints of the Great Circle, he himself had been severely injured and his meridians had been damaged. Fortunately, it was a group of ferocious beasts that only knew how to use brute force. If it were a real martial artist, facing such a group of beasts, even if they didn't die, they would still be half dead. It could be said that the three's current situation was far more dangerous than the life and death Secret Realms Hell mode. After all, they had only faced one saint beast, but here, they had to face hundreds of them, and the number was still increasing. The Purple King was extremely regretful. He shouldn't have rushed in recklessly. However, at this moment, he could only continue to block the area with the densest number of demonic beasts. He couldn't let more of them pass. Even He Wudi, who was the calmest of them all, realized how dangerous the situation was. He was prepared to give it his all, but in the end, Yi Xingqian suddenly seemed to have turned into a demon. His eyes were filled with intense killing intent. This gaze was so terrifying. Was it because senior brother Xiao was heavily injured that he completely went berserk? It seemed that these two had extremely strong feelings for each other as fellow disciples. Could it be? He Wudi hurriedly threw away his wild thoughts and was about to drag Yi Xingqian away when he heard the latter speak first. "Take him away, I'll cover you." These 6 short words contained the meaning of an order. Anyo was no longer the Night Emperor of the past. However, the dignity of the Night Emperor and the pride of the Night Emperor were still buried deep in his soul. When they met with danger and despair today, they were completely released. Me. Yi Xingqian. Not the Emperor of Truth, not the comedian. At this moment, if there were any hardcore fans here, they would definitely shout out Anyo's slogan, "Understood." He Wudi was not an indecisive person. He made the right choice in the shortest time possible. He quickly rushed to Xiao Ziji and carried him on his back. Before he left, he did not forget to pick up his personal divine weapon. Roar! Roar! More and more ferocious beasts gathered in the tunnel. There were at least 1,000 of them. They did not rush over immediately because the human standing in front of them looked a little fierce. Pa! With his back to the camera, Yi Xingqian opened the cork of the bottle, raised the exclusive divine weapon in the form of a wine gourd, and started gulping it down. Hoo-hoo! Inside the cave, there was no wind, blowing Anyo's black hair into a mess, revealing a proud and lonely face that no one could understand. It was a pity that Li Tian was not around. Otherwise, he would have definitely captured the scene of Yi Xingqian standing alone in front of 1,000 ferocious beasts and drinking wine. Xingqian. When you understand the meaning of the words unyielding and unyielding, you will naturally understand. The words that the sect master had once said echoed in his ears. Perhaps it was the alcohol, or perhaps it was his emotions, but he unconsciously began to hum, "Only, you, can accompany me in my quest for the Western scripture. Only, you, can slay demons and vanquish devils." He hummed and laughed. Patriarch. Today, I understand the meaning of the words unyielding and unyielding. Roar. Roar. At this moment, hundreds of ferocious beasts rushed over. The violent demonic aura instantly filled the tunnel, filled with hair-raising chilliness. Ta! Yi Xingqian got into a horse stance. His hands were crossed, and his exclusive divine weapon was suspended in the middle. Then, it quickly enlarged and finally rested on his shoulder. He shouted, "Li Shang, sacrifice to heaven." Hoo-hoo! The mouth of the gourd quickly produced a strong suction force, sucking in all the gloomy demonic aura that pressed over. Then, after brewing, it was spat out again. Boom! Boom! The few ferocious beasts that were charging at the front were instantly sent flying. Anyo's exclusive divine weapon displayed a super strong attack power at this moment. However, there were too many demonic beasts. They quickly filled the gap and stretched out their sharp claws and teeth to tear at him. Boom! 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 In an instant, the dozen or so ferocious beasts that rushed in front of him were sent flying. Yi Xingqian was dumbfounded. Because Xiao Ziji was standing in front of him, and Yun Zhou Xia was in front of him. He Wudi was also here. His palms were on the former's back, as if he was transferring energy to him. He said helplessly, "Senior brother Xiao insisted on coming back. I couldn't stop him." Bullshit. He was clearly seriously injured. Wouldn't it be easy for you to carry him away? Yi Xingqian knew that the two of them must have discussed and returned to share the danger. Therefore, he said coldly, "Are you idiots?" "Yes." Xiao Ziji grinned with difficulty and said, "Who would join the sect of all times under normal circumstances? Who would become your fellow disciple?" Yi Xingqian was speechless. "All right." He smiled and said, "Then let's face it together. If you die, you can't blame anyone but that naked guy." Yi Xingqian smiled. "Get out of the way." At this moment, He Wudi shouted. His hands quickly formed a strange seal and said, "I'm going to use my trump card." Whoosh whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, a majestic energy quickly emerged from his body. The special effect was even stronger than that of the Sword Mystic Grandmaster and the Sword Mystic Grandmaster. Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji immediately felt the violent energy. Therefore, they quickly moved aside and said in shock, "This is definitely not the martial arts of the sect." Yes. This was not the martial arts of the sect of all times. This was the martial arts that He Wudi had cultivated before. Because the attributes of the lower realm were too weak, he could not use it even if he comprehended it to the extreme. To put it bluntly, in the lower realm, he could not use the higher realm martial arts at all because the version was wrong. In the upper realm, there were stronger heaven and earth attributes and higher laws of heaven and earth. Even if his realm was slightly low, he could still use it. Night flash star explosion. He Wudi shouted and pushed his palms forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, streams of light shot out from the void and blasted into the roaring ferocious beasts. They were as dazzling as the stars in the night. Boom 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 boom. Under the deafening series of explosions, Yi Xingqian's expression was a little interesting. Because the name of this martial arts was a little fucked up. However, when everything calmed down, nearly 1,000 ferocious beasts had been blasted into meat paste. Damn! Xiao Ziji and Yi Xingqian's eyes almost popped out. If Jun Changshao saw this, he would definitely be dumbfounded on the spot. Plop! However, after using his trump card, He Wudi staggered back a few steps and sat on the ground. His face was extremely pale, as if his body had been completely hollowed out. He said to himself, as expected, the heaven and earth attributes and laws here are still not good enough. Don't be in a daze. He suppressed his weakness and said, "Quickly leave the Demon King's cave." Shwa! Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji immediately took action. Each of them grabbed one of He Wudi's arms and ran out of the cave. They were still thinking about that shocking martial arts just now. Roar! Roar! From the various tunnels, another batch of ferocious beasts rushed over. Moreover, from the demonic aura they emitted, it was obvious that they were much stronger than the previous batch. "It's over." He Wudi said with a broken face, "We can't get out." Ta! Ta! At this moment, Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji suddenly stopped. This made him roar, "Then you can't give up. Wait a minute. Why did the word attack appear on one's forehead and the word shield appear on the back of the other's right hand?" Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji stood in place, their expressions slightly sluggish. As the word became more and more resplendent, a large amount of memories flooded into their consciousness until they were completely digested. They threw He Wuti on the ground, shook their heads, and turned around while rubbing their palms. At the same time, the corners of their mouths rose into a devilish smile. Chapter 1385. In the Sect of All Times. Li Qingyang, who was exploring the terrain in the mountain, suddenly stopped because the word "steady" on the back of his hand gradually appeared, shining with a dazzling light. What's going on? Whoosh! Suddenly, a strange memory entered his mind, causing him to fall into a short daze. Only when he accepted it all did he blurt out in disbelief, "Fuck." In the cafeteria. Yao Menjing said in surprise, "Senior Sister Lu, why do you have words on your hand?" Lu Wancher, who was standing in front of the stove, was unmoved because when she was cooking, a similar memory was forcefully entered, causing the word "stove" to become even more dazzling. After a while, she returned to normal. She grabbed the handle of the pot with one hand and the spatula with the other, and began to cook the food with the utmost concentration. Yao Menjing gradually widened her eyes because Senior Sister Lu was emitting a strange aura. It felt as if she had suddenly changed into another person. Pa! After cooking, the dishes were placed on the table. Lu Wancher took off her apron and said with a smile, "Junior sister, have a taste." Oh! Yao Menjing picked up her chopsticks and put a mouthful of food into her mouth. After chewing and swallowing slowly, her expression gradually became exaggerated. She said in surprise, "Senior Sister Lu, your dishes are even more delicious than before." First Black and Second Black came over and ate separately, exclaiming in unison, "It's tens of thousands of times more delicious." Although their words were flattering, in fact, the dishes that Lu Wancher made this time did have a huge change in color and taste, and the impact it brought to the soul was also stronger. In the array formation hall, Shengguan Xinyao was seriously explaining the creation principle of an array formation to her fellow disciples. Zhen Dejuan, who was standing outside, had a dazed expression on his face. This girl was a little absent-minded on the podium, but when she analyzed the array formation again, it was as if she was a completely different person. It was as if she was possessed by a top array formation master. "Elder Zhen, am I right?" Yes. Zhen Dejuan's old face blushed because during the explanation process, there were many things that he did not understand. After being acknowledged, Shengguan Xinyao smiled, then lowered her head to look at the word "wisdom" that was still not hidden. She thought to herself, "Because of you, my comprehension ability has greatly increased." Back to Jun Changshao, when he was on the road with rows of flowers and a black and white rakshasa to look for magnetite veins, he had nothing to do and began to think about which new function he should upgrade. Currently, the Elixir Pavilion, Smithing Pavilion, Talisman Pavilion, and Spirit Beast Pavilion had been upgraded. If they were to be upgraded in order, the Spirit Essence Pavilion would be next. The function of the Spiritual Aura Pavilion was to add various attributes to weapons. However, because they had just arrived in the upper realm, there were no suitable weapons for the disciples yet. Therefore, Gosheng did not plan to prioritize upgrading the weapons. Technique Pavilion. Jun Changshao also had the thought of upgrading it, but when he thought about how he had already been rewarded with 2 when he first came to the upper realm, and how he had obtained another one from Mount Lingyin, he did not have the time to distribute it. Instead, he fixed his gaze on the Lingyan Pavilion. The first 2 functions were for the benefit of the entire sect, while this one was for the benefit of the core disciples. Previously, Li Qingyang and the others had entered the sect one after another, and their strength and aptitude had increased significantly. How about this? Jun Changshao made up his mind and immediately upgraded the Lingyan Pavilion to an enhanced version. At this point, the truth was revealed. Whether it was Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji who were in the Devil's Cave, or Li Qingyang, Lu Wancher, and the others who were in the sect, it was as if they had suddenly activated cheats under the Patriarch's remote control. Aya. Su Xiaomua and Li Fei have also met the requirements. After upgrading the Lingyan Pavilion, Jun Changshao realized that the merit points of the two disciples were already full, so he matched them one after another. The system complained, "You obviously forgot to let the disciples enter the pavilion. Am I arrogant? Pass the ball, pass the ball." On the training field of the sect of all times, Su Xiaomua and Li Fei sped forward, passing the ball back and forth frequently. Their tacit understanding attracted the applause of the spectating disciples. Sun Muching stood in front of the goal as usual, with a light smile on his face. Ever since he got used to the culture of the sect of all times, he would often take on the role of goalkeeper in the gaps between his cultivation. His current record was a clean sheet. Goalkeeper. That was the nickname everyone gave him. As long as Sun Muching stood in front of the goal, he would definitely make the top strikers despair. Swoosh! Swoosh! Su Xiaomua flashed past the backfield defenders one after another with gorgeous movements, then scooped the ball up and volleyed it in the air. Come on, come on. Sun Muching had already determined the position of the kick and was about to attack when he realized that the ball suddenly turned in a strange arc in the air. Ta-ta-ta. Li Fei, who was following closely behind, ran over with heavy steps, his entire body leaping into the air. The four words, "Little Li Fei kick," appeared on the screen and kicked the ball towards the goal with a standard inverted golden hook. Whoosh! With the special effect of the football general, the ball seemed to have turned into a roaring tiger. Pa! However, just as it was about to pass through the blind spot, it was caught by Sun Muching's pair of big plier-like hands. He smiled and said, "I was almost fooled by my two senior brothers. Fuck." Su Xiaomua knelt on the ground with his head in his hands, despair appearing on his face. In order to break through the goal guarded by Sun Muching, he and Li Fei had studied tactics for several days, but in the end, they still failed. This was not a fucking goalkeeper, this was a fucking wall that blocked the goal. Sigh. Li Fei, who had landed, hung his head dejectedly. The deep sense of defeat spread wildly in their hearts, and their mood became more and more depressed. Suddenly, Li Fei, who had his head lowered, noticed that strange lines appeared on the back of his right hand, gradually forming the word, strength. He hurriedly said in surprise, "Senior brother Su," his voice stopped abruptly. Because Su Xiaomua, who was standing nearby, also had the word, shadow, printed on the back of his hand. Huff, huff. In an instant, strange memories rushed into their sea of consciousness, and they were enveloped by the majestic momentum of advancement. Wu Sheng, who was an eighth pin, easily stepped into the peak of Wu Sheng. Senior brother Su and senior brother Li have broken through. Playing football can also improve one's realm. The surrounding disciples widened their eyes. Huff. At this moment, the airwaves that gathered around Su Xiaomua and Li Fei seemed to be blown away by a gust of wind. The two recovered from their short days, and then looked at each other with smiles on their faces. Battle song, play. Pa. The outer disciple named Jing Ji pressed the switch on the magically modified speaker, and the theme song of Slam Dunk suddenly sounded in the martial arts practice field. In the superheated atmosphere, the camera zoomed in on Su Xiaomua and Li Fei, and then captured the entire field from an overhead view. Sun Muching's eyes gradually became solemn. These two senior brothers suddenly gave him a feeling that they were different people. Junior brother. Su Xiaomua shook his head, clenched his fist, and said with a smile, "Let's play with this little junior brother today." That's exactly what I was thinking. Li Fei weighed his feet with a big smile on his face. Swish. Suddenly, Su Xiaomua stepped up. It seemed to be a simple movement, but the moment he stepped out, he seemed to turn into a residual shadow. He quickly came to the ball parked in the distance and rushed to the goal with fancy footwork. Damn! Looking at the residual shadows that filled the space where he passed, the disciples all widened their eyes. Sun Muching was stunned. When a gust of wind blew from the side, he turned his head stiffly and saw Su Xiaomao had stopped in the goal, stepping on the ball. So fast. I didn't even see how he passed. The ball is in. The ball is in. Outside the martial arts practice field, the excited cheers of the disciples could be heard. However, this was just the beginning because the game continued. Su Xiaomao's superb footwork, as if he was one with the ball, shuttling around the field wantonly, leaving Li Tiangshan and the others standing there in despair. Too fast. So fast that they couldn't even see the ball. Swish. Swish. The ball followed Su Xiaomao and stopped in the goal again and again. Sun Muching maintained a defensive posture, and the expression on his face gradually collapsed. 2-0. 3-0. 4-0. The score kept increasing. After scoring 10 goals in a row, Su Xiaomao no longer played a one-man show. He passed the ball to Li Fei, who had successfully reversed the offside position. Little Li Fei's footwork appeared on the screen again, and with a bang, the ball was kicked to the goal. Huff, huff, huff. The little ball carried a terrifying power, accompanied by the streamer's drag, as if it turned into an ancient dragon that was released from hell. Damn! Seeing this scene, the disciples all opened their mouths. Ah! Sun Muching roared, gathered defensive power in his hands, and grabbed at the rapidly spinning ball. Under the explosion of energy, he seemed to have turned into an immovable mountain. The national football team has left the live broadcast room. Boom! At this moment, a sudden explosion came from the goal. The energy was mixed with dust, and it could be said to have covered the sky. The disciples standing outside the martial arts field had a wonderful expression on their faces. This wasn't a football game, this was a fight. Huff huff. The billowing dust gradually dissipated, and everything on the field became clear. The goalkeeper had disappeared, and so had the goal. Where was he? Where was he? Everyone hurriedly looked for him, and found that Sun Muching was half kneeling on the ground, holding the ball that was still spinning at high speed in his arms. His face gradually became ferocious. The goal was next to him, and he was inside. In other words, although he had successfully caught the ball, the powerful force still pushed him back more than 10 feet, and he was pushed back into the goal. Too strong, Sun Muching's eyes flashed with admiration, and said, "Senior brothers are too strong." Beep. The whistle sounded, and the score was 11-0. The theme song of Slam Dunk was still playing. Su Xiaomao and Li Fei raised their right hands and high-fived each other. The words "shadow" and "strength" were even more dazzling, and the smile on their faces was as if they were paying tribute to the lost youth of the 80s. Chapter 1386. Su Xiaomao and Li Fei entered the Lingyan Pavilion and obtained the words "shadow" and "strength" respectively. From their performance just now, it could be seen that one of them was as agile as a shadow, while the other's footwork was full of strength. In fact, their merit points had already reached the requirements. Although Jun Changshao was only arranged to enter now, the rewards before and after the upgrade were not small. Therefore, not only did their overall strength soar, but their realms also benefited. Of course. Su Xiaomao and Li Fei were not the only ones who entered the Lingyan Pavilion. Jun Changshao, who was on the way, found that Lu Qianqian had also reached the requirements, so he matched her. He said with emotion, "It's not easy for my eldest disciple to reach the maximum value." Buzz. The portrait gradually outlined the outline. Lu Qianqian, who was dressed in white, stood in front of the sect, surrounded by dilapidated buildings. Obviously, this was when she had just entered the Iron Bone clan. Jun Changshao recalled the difficult days after he became the sect leader. As for the newly formed portraits of Su Xiaomao and Li Fei, one was passing the ball and the other was kicking the ball, which suited their characteristics very well. Ninth Heaven Mystery Land, Ice Layer Sky. Lu Qianqian sat cross-legged on an iceberg covered with white snow. She seemed to have integrated with the surrounding cold environment. Since ascending to the upper realm, she had been working hard to cultivate. Her realm improvement was not inferior to Yi Xingqian's at all. However, because she rarely appeared in the sect, she did not seem to exist. Whoosh! Suddenly, a stream of light appeared on the back of her right hand and gradually outlined the word ice. Her personality was cold, and she cultivated the ice element. This word was very suitable for her. Whoosh whoosh. Unfamiliar memories flooded into her mind. Layers of dense air like cold fog gathered around her body, making her seem even more pure and holy. What's going on? Lu Qianxian opened her clear eyes and looked at the words on the back of her right hand in confusion. At this moment, if Yi Xingqian saw this, he would definitely roar on the spot and say, "Why are there words on the back of their hands? Only mine is imprinted on my forehead." Although she didn't understand the situation, Lu Qianxian realized that her understanding of the ice element had improved. She had even reached the threshold of Wu Xing's great perfection. At this point, the Lingyan pavilion had 3 more core disciples. The portraits hanging above the pavilion were respectively printed with the word steadiness, kitchen, wisdom, shield, attack, shadow, strength, ice. That's only 8. We still need 16 more. Walking on the road, Jun Changshao clicked on Hewudi's name and found that the achievement points met the requirements, so he added him without hesitation. Hewudi's portrait was of him standing in front of the gate and closing the door, which suited his identity as a last disciple. Jun Changshao then looked at Tian Qi, Song Xianzhou, Long Xiang, and the other core disciples, and realized that they were still lacking something. Thus, he took back the system panel and said, "Let's wait for a while before we make the arrangements." The system complained, "I'm afraid the host will forget again." Before Su Xiaomua and Li Fei entered the Lingyan pavilion, they couldn't do anything to Sun Mucheng. After becoming one of the 24 meritorious heroes, they directly used their powerful strength to score goals. This showed that their strength had increased significantly. Here came the problem. What about Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji, who were in adversity? Boom! Boom! At the outermost area of the Demon King's cave, a violent energy erupted, and waves of energy swept over. Hewudi, who was exhausted, gradually became sluggish. He mentally collapsed and said, "What's going on?" In front of him, Xiao Ziji held his shield like a bulldozer, directly knocking away dozens of ferocious beasts. Then, he raised his right hand, and the word shield printed on it shone brightly, instantly enveloping his entire body. Ka ka ka. Ka 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 ka. Complex lines gradually gathered on his shield-holding right hand, quickly solidifying and turning into steel. His body and legs also underwent great changes. When the light gradually dissipated, his entire body seemed to have turned into a mecha warrior. Swoosh! Xiao Zuiji pointed at the space between his eyebrows, and his head was instantly covered by a mechanical helmet. All kinds of data appeared in his field of vision. Then, he raised his hand lightly, and a large futuristic sniper rifle appeared out of thin air. Holy shit! Hewudi exclaimed, "What the hell?" The readers at the scene exclaimed, "Gundam! Man of Steel!" Boom! Xiao Ziji hit Cloud Boat Hero in front of him and placed the sniper rifle on top. Dense data suddenly appeared on the screen inside the helmet, and it divided into several crosshairs, locking onto the ferocious beasts that were pouncing in the tunnel. Bang! 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 He, who had transformed into a Gundam warrior, pulled the trigger one after another. Bullets quickly spewed out from the muzzle of the Barrett, and then, with the penetrative force that shook space, he blew up all the ferocious beasts' heads. Swish swish swish. Disgusting blood and XX sputtered in the tunnel. Throughout the entire process of firing, Xiao Ziji remained motionless in his original position with every bullet that flew out. However, visible to the naked eye, the ripples under his feet were madly rippling. He Wudi was completely dumbfounded. This scene of a steel warrior fighting against zombies was completely beyond his understanding. Roar! Roar! More ferocious beasts rushed out from the depths of the tunnel. It was obvious that the hole in Hall Master Z's crotch was very large, and it was impossible to completely block all the ferocious beasts. Swoosh! Xiao Ziji waved his hand and placed the high-tech sniper rifle on his back. He raised Cloud Boat Hero and rushed forward with the blue special effect of his mechanical feet. Boom! 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 The ferocious beasts were sent flying. Because the impact was too strong, many of them had their flesh and internal organs broken. This is definitely not the strength of a peak Wusheng. He Wudi was shocked. I'm afraid. He stopped thinking because he couldn't tell how strong Xiao Ziji, who was shrouded in the power of technology, was. Get out of the way. Suddenly, a cold and arrogant voice sounded. Yi Xingqian walked over step by step. The attack character on his face became brighter and brighter. He Wudi collapsed. I'm behind you, so what if I'm in the way? Swoosh! At this moment, Yi Xingqian stopped. He raised his hand and lightly waved it behind his back. A heavy halberd appeared in front of him. There were 6 words engraved on the hilt: Divine Modification, Sky Halberd. Fortunately, Jun Changshao wasn't present. Otherwise, he would have definitely widened his eyes and said, how does he have a divine modification weapon? Ah! Suddenly, Yi Xingqian raised his head and roared. The attack character imprinted between his eyebrows instantly released a bright light. It enveloped his entire body and quickly outlined a complex pattern around him. He Wudi collapsed when he saw this. Is he going to transform too? Swoosh! At this moment, Yi Xingqian walked out with a 3-pronged purple gold crown on his head and a red embroidered battle robe on his body. The aura of sweeping away thousands of troops instantly erupted. It was as if he had transformed into an invincible and undefeatable divine general. He Wudi, who had seen Xiao Ziji transform before, wasn't surprised. Instead, he laughed dryly and looked outside the camera. What did I just see? It was a pity. The comments section was closed again. The readers couldn't say anything. Swoosh! Yi Xingqian, who seemed to have transformed into an undefeatable divine general, proudly grabbed the sky halberd and coldly said, "Trash, all of you must die." Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Holding the halberd, he charged forward with an aggressive aura. Boom! Xiao Ziji sent dozens of ferocious beasts flying. Then, he subconsciously moved aside to give Yi Xingqian space to act cool. Yi Xingqian then strode forward and swept the sky halberd horizontally. Bang! 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 Everywhere it passed, blood and flesh flew everywhere. He Wudi's muscles twitched violently. He also couldn't judge how strong Yi Xingqian was from the powerful aura that erupted from his body. Strength was not important. What was important was that one of them had transformed into a steel warrior and the other into an undefeatable divine general. Their combat strength was strong enough to crush the ferocious beasts that were constantly rushing out. Boom! 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 Yi Xingqian and Xiao Zui, one in charge of offense and the other in charge of defense, performed a shocking massacre in the tunnel that was still spacious. When the Purple King stopped all the ferocious beasts in the deepest part of the tunnel and rushed to the battlefield, he saw one in a mecha and the other in a battle armor standing proudly with the corpses of ferocious beasts under their feet. He blurted out, "Who are these 2 idiots?" Chapter 1387. Xiao Ziji's mecha and sniper rifle were already amazing enough, but Yi Xingqian had even taken out a god-modified weapon. After all, this was Go Sheng's exclusive weapon. The reason why the 2 of them were so powerful was that the Lingyan Pavilion had been upgraded to an enhanced version. All the disciples who moved in would obtain a special ability to strengthen themselves. In short, it was to activate the profound meaning of words and enter a mode similar to a transformation. Xiao Ziji was the main defender, and his mode was to wear a metal armor and be equipped with a sniper rifle with extremely high penetrative power. Yi Xingqian was the main attacker, and his mode was to transform into an unparalleled divine general and obtain a god-modified halberd full of offensive power. Of course, the two of them did not hesitate to use the profound meaning of words because the foreign memories that had entered them had taught them how to use it. As for what the mode of Li Qingyang, Lu Wanshi, and the others was, they would only be able to find out if they really used it, so there was no need to introduce it here. Jun Changshao did not expect that upgrading the Lingyan Pavilion would bring such a powerful special ability to the disciples who moved in. He also did not expect that although he was not there, he had helped them resolve a huge crisis. Sexy Go Sheng, remote control. Swish. Swish. Yi Xingqian and Xiao Ziji, who were standing in the pile of demon corpses, gradually dissipated. The words on their foreheads and the back of their hands gradually dimmed and then disappeared. The Purple King exclaimed, "It's you too." Yi Xingqian glared at him and immediately collapsed to the ground weakly. Swish. Xiao Ziji hurriedly supported him and smiled with difficulty. "Junior brother, we've turned the situation around." After going through another life and death experience, their relationship with each other would definitely be deeper. "Let's go." The Purple King covered the three of them with his demonic energy and said seriously, "Leave this place." He had only temporarily blocked a large number of ferocious beasts that swarmed out. Who knew if there would be a second attack, so the most important thing now was to leave as soon as possible. Buzz. However, as soon as he walked out of the Demon King's lair, the Purple King discovered that a stream of light had appeared on the back of Hewudi's right hand, gradually condensing into the word door. Puzzled, he asked, "What's this?" Xiao Ziji, who had experienced it before, immediately realized that junior brother he was about to obtain a special ability like him. Yi Xingqian frowned. "These two fellows' characters are on the back of their right hands, so why are my characters on my forehead?" Hoo. Hewudi closed his eyes as the complex and unfamiliar memories flooded into his knowledge sea. As the memories gradually merged, the shock in his heart became more and more intense. Me. He actually had an ability that allowed him to become stronger in an instant. At that moment, he finally understood why his two senior brothers had suddenly erupted. They must have obtained the same ability as him. But, why is it a door? Could it be because he was in charge of closing and opening the doors of the sect all year round? Or is it that I'm bound to be related to the door for the rest of my life? Hewudi, who had the word door on the back of his hand, not only became the 9th disciple to enter the Lingyan Pavilion, his strength also increased. However, because he had just entered the great perfection of Wu Sheng, he did not break through in one go. "Junior brother he." Xiao Ziji smiled and said, "Congratulations." Hewudi scratched his head and gave him a knowing look. The Purple King, who was standing on the side and unaware of the situation, broke down and said, "What's going on? Can someone tell me?" Yi Xingqian and the other two were in an absolute state of weakness because two of them had used cheats and one of them had forcibly used a profound martial art. They could only find a nearby cave to temporarily recuperate. The Purple King served as both a nanny and a bodyguard. The main reason was that he felt guilty. After all, if he had not entered the depths without permission, they would not have ended up like this. A few days later. As usual, Z went to the stream to fetch water. However, as soon as he arrived, he found someone looking at him in surprise from the opposite mountain. He exclaimed, "Patriarch, why are you here?" Jun Changshao broke down and said, "I should be the one asking that." It turned out that the magnetite vein marked on the map was near the Demon King's cave. Go Sheng brought rows of flowers and the others along the way and coincidentally met the Purple King. Crackle, crackle. In the cave at night, the firewood burned wildly, illuminating the surroundings. The Purple King leaned against the wall with his head lowered like a child who had done something wrong. There was no other reason. Jun Changshao already knew about their experience 2 days ago and scolded them to their faces. Now, he was pacing back and forth with his hands behind his back, preparing his next line. Husband. Rows of Flowers walked over to smooth things over and said, "It's already over. Xin Ji and Xing Chen have also turned the situation around. Don't blame Hall Leader Z anymore. I believe he didn't feel good at that time. It's terrible." The Purple King clutched his chest and said. Jun Changshao suppressed the lines he was about to blurt out and said calmly, "Next time, go to the discipline hall and be punished yourself. I promise there won't be a next time." The Purple King hurriedly raised his hand and said. Jun Changshao rolled his eyes at him, then looked at Yi Xingchen and the others and said, "How long will it take for you to recover?" "Probably tomorrow. After you recover, activate your ability and let me see." Jun Changshao had already determined from the three of them that Yi Xingchen and Xiao Ziji had suddenly become stronger during the period when he had upgraded the Lingyan Pavilion. Therefore, he was very curious about what special abilities they had. The next day, Yi Xingchen and Xiao Ziji stood in the open area and looked at each other. Then, according to their memories, they activated the profound meaning of the words again. The words, attack, and shield, appeared on their faces and the back of their right hands respectively. Their bodies were enveloped in special energy. TSK TSK. Jun Changshao sat on a huge rock and said in surprise, "This is a little unbelievable." Whoosh! A gust of wind blew. Xiao Ziji transformed into a mecha warrior and stood proudly with a futuristic sniper rifle in his hand. The aura of technology and pay-to-win instantly filled the air. Damn! Jun Changshao widened his eyes and said, "Is this a Gundam or a man of steel?" Whoosh! Yi Xingchen, who had transformed into an unparalleled divine general, strode out. The heavenly halberd in his hand exuded an aura that could wipe out 1,000 armies. "This is..." Jun Changshao said in surprise, "Lu Bu? Wait a minute." The words engraved on the weapon were actually the godly modified heavenly halberd. The system said, "The disciples who live in the Lingyan Pavilion are the most trusted disciples of the host. Therefore, they received items from the system store." "That's right." Jun Changshao said, "After the Lingyan Pavilion was upgraded, the mechas and weapons that the two of them are wearing are all from the system store." "That's right." The system said. "I see." Jun Changshao understood and a smile appeared on his face. Upgrading a sect function allowed the disciples to receive items from the system store. This was definitely equivalent to saving a lot of contribution points. Invincible. "Show me your special ability." He Wudi, who was standing at the side, said weakly, "Patriarch, can we do it another day?" "No." Jun Changshao said. After a difficult decision, He Wudi took a step forward and raised his right hand. The word gate appeared. Gate? Jun Changshao said, "It suits his identity as a last disciple." Whoosh whoosh. A special energy burst out and enveloped He Wudi. When everything calmed down and everyone looked over, they found that the guy had not changed at all. Instead, 2 doors about 3 to 4 meters tall and 1 meter wide appeared behind him. The left side was engraved with the word life, and the right side was engraved with the word death. There was a beast mask on each of them. Pfft! The Purple King could not help but laugh. The black and white Rakshasa were expressionless. One look and one could tell that they had received professional training. Chapter 1388. When He Wudi summoned the 2 doors, Jun Changshao could not help but laugh out loud. As the disciple in charge of opening and closing the doors, I was given the word door. My special ability is also related to the door. Invincible. Jun Changshao asked, "What's the use?" Yi Xingqian and He Wudi were fully armed. Just from the aura they released, it could be seen that they had both offensive and defensive capabilities. The two doors with the words life and death written on them were difficult to understand. Could it be that after opening them, they would lead to hell and could be transported to each other? He Wudi said, Patriarch, this is the door of life and death. There are living spirits in the door of life and dead spirits in the door of death. Oh. Jun Changshao was interested and said, open it and try. He Wudi shook his head and said, we have to send the target in. Even if we open it, they won't come out. Okay. Jun Changshao said, withdraw your abilities and follow me to find the magnetite mine. Yes. The three of them withdrew their mecha, armor, and door of life and death. The words on their faces and the back of their hands gradually faded into darkness. Although they had used their abilities, they were not used in actual combat, so they did not fall into a weakened state. Let's go. Jun Changshao led the group to the dark forest ahead. On the way, he said to himself, with this special ability, the disciples in the Lingyan Pavilion don't need weapons and equipment at all. The system poured cold water on him and said, the host has said that this is a special ability with special restrictions. It's not realistic to use it as a weapon or equipment at all times. That's true. Jun Changshao said to himself, when we have the new sect function, we can consider upgrading the divine weapon pavilion first. Go Xing did not think that upgrading the elixir pavilion and the smithing pavilion in the lower realm was to save resources and time. However, after upgrading the spiritual beast pavilion and the Lingyan pavilion in the upper realm, he realized that it was so awesome. Therefore, he decided to try the divine weapon pavilion. After all, these new disciples in the Lingyan pavilion had not been equipped with their own divine weapons. Invincible. Jun Changshao stopped and said, in view of your recent performance, I intend to give you a weapon. Will you use a sword or a saber? Yi Xingqian's eyes widened. When you gave me and Xiao Ziji weapons, you didn't have the right to choose. He Wudi scratched his head and said, I'll take whatever the Patriarch gives. All right then. Jun Changshao opened the magic weapon pavilion. After a round of selection, he spent 10,000 contribution points to buy an exclusive magic weapon called White Rainbow, Clear Martial. He took it out and threw it over, saying, from now on, you are the owner of this weapon. He Wudi caught it, and his expression became interesting. Puhaha. The Purple King finally couldn't hold it in any longer. He squatted on the ground and covered his face with his hands as he laughed. Even the professionally trained black and white double breaks faces turned red. The exclusive divine weapon, the White Rainbow Martial Sword, had inherited its unique characteristics. It looked like a palm-sized knocker from a distance, close up, and from the side. That was right. It was similar to the two beast mask rings that appeared on the Gate of Life and Death just now. Patriarch. He Wudi broke down and said, do I have an affinity with the gate? Jun Changshao walked over and patted him on the shoulder, saying, although the design is a little weird, the power is extraordinary. He Wudi rolled his eyes. It was undeniable that the weapon was good in terms of material and feel, but at best, it belonged to the lower realm. Now that he was in the upper realm, he couldn't use it to fight. Brother Yi. He Wudi handed the White Rainbow Martial Sword over and said, you can use it to make a nose ring. Yi Xingqian roared, I'm not a cow. Of course. Jun Changshao said seriously, your exclusive divine weapons may not be able to adapt to the upper realm, but you must take good care of them. As long as they are strengthened in the new version, you can definitely take them out. Although they didn't understand what the new version meant, since the Patriarch was so serious, he would naturally take good care of the exclusive divine weapons. Husband. Rose of Flowers asked, is there a weapon that I can use? Why would a support need a weapon? Jun Changshao muttered in his heart, but his thoughts were still very honest as he looked at the divine weapon pavilion. Ding! Host spent 10,000 contribution points and obtained Fantasy Color and Light Dance X1. It has been transferred into the Space Ring. Ding! Sect contribution points, 720000. The reason Jun Changshao gave himself was that although the other party was a support, the exclusive divine weapon only cost 10,000 contribution points. It was cheap. Here. He threw it over casually like a steel man. Rows of flowers caught it and looked at the whip that seemed to be weaved with 7 colors. She smiled sweetly and said, "Thank you, husband." Yi Xingqian, Xiao Ziji, He Wudi, and the Purple King were all dumbfounded. No way. Why was her exclusive divine weapon so normal and so beautiful? Why was it not pots and pans when it came to them? It was a pair of boxing gloves and knockers. What made them collapse the most was that the Patriarch had bought 2 exclusive divine weapons for the Black and White Rakshasa. One was a sword, the other was a saber. Not only did they look stylish, even the special effects were very high-end. He Wudi was about to cry. If I had known, would have chosen the saber and sword too. Patriarch. He said weakly, "Can I choose again?" "You're dreaming. This mountain forest is a bit dangerous. Everyone, be alert." Yes. The Demon King's cave was a forbidden area. The boundless mountain forest nearby was also a forbidden area. Therefore, very few people came here on normal days. It was still in its most primitive state. Bones and feces of vicious beasts could be seen everywhere. Patriarch. The Purple King walked and said vigilantly, "There are many monsters here, and they are not weak in terms of strength." Jun Changshao did not say anything. He also felt it from the austere atmosphere. The system said, "I was right. Even if there is a magnetite mine here, it is also a tiger's den." It was proud this time. Roar! Roar! At this moment, a furious roar came from the depths of the mountain forest, causing the surrounding leaves to shake violently. "Have we been discovered?" Jun Changshao immediately ordered, "Be on guard." Swoosh! Swoosh! Yi Xingqian and the others took out their exclusive divine weapons. Their minds were on high alert because they could hear that the roaring monster was definitely not weak. Rows of flowers subconsciously approached Jun Changshao. If there was trouble, she would immediately merge with her husband to become Lord Rose. Patriarch. The White Rakshasa said in a deep voice, "Someone is fighting with a monster comparable to a rank 6 demon beast in the depths." Jun Changshao's powerful spirit sense had already spread over and captured more than 10 martial artists in uniform. They had set up a mysterious formation and were fighting against a powerful gigantic monster. From the looks of it, they seemed to be suppressing it. These people looked a little old and were all at rank 3 core revolution realm and above. Patriarch. Black Rakshasa said with a serious gaze when he saw the patterns engraved on the chests of the martial artists. "These people are from Slight Spirit True Sect." True grade? Jun Changshao was enlightened. No wonder they are so strong. For now, it was known that the highest realm of Sword Mystic Sect and High Saber Mystic Sect was only at rank 3. For a true grade sect to send more than 10 of them, the difference was truly huge. "Let's go." Jun Changshao said, "Let's take a detour." Their goal this time was to search for the magnetite mine, so they naturally would not watch the show. However, when he was about to lead everyone to take a detour, an old man that was fighting a formidable demon beast shouted in a low voice. "An area of 50 kilometers around this area has been sealed off by my spirit micro true sect. All unrelated people must leave swiftly, otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences." "All right." Jun Changshao replied loudly, then turned around and returned the way they came. Yi Xingqian, Xiao Ziji, and the rest were stunned. Since when did the Patriarch keep such a low profile? Leaving without turning back when others told him to. An hour later. Jun Changshao brought them back to the cave from before and took out a set of night clothes and disguise masks. He said, "Change your clothes and disguise yourselves. Use the hidden cultivation technique and follow me in." The corners of Yi Xingchen and the rest's mouths twitched. Patriarch. The Black Rakshasa said seriously, "Slight spirit true Sect strength cannot be underestimated. You must consider carefully." Jun Changshao said with a straight face, "This forest area is ownerless. The more they seal off the area, the more I want to go in and investigate." The Black Rakshasa was silent. He had experienced the tyranny of true grade sections. If the Patriarch insisted on going, then let's go. Seeing the determination in everyone's eyes, Rose of Flowers was speechless. "Why do I feel that the upper echelons and disciples recruited by my husband are a little abnormal?" She said it as if your man is normal. To be exact. The upper echelons and disciples of the sect of all times were abnormal because of your Go Sheng. Swoosh. Swoosh. Everyone quickly changed into night clothes. Although they changed their appearances, they still used black masks and used the hidden cultivation technique to completely conceal their auras. "Let's go." Jun Changshao led everyone to the area they had just come from. He tore off the black mask on his face and stuck out his tongue at the slight spirit true sect martial artists who were fighting with the demon beasts in the depths. Only then did he go in from the right. "Patriarch, they didn't discover us. The hidden cultivation technique is too amazing." Hearing the Black Rakshasa and White Rakshasa's telepathic messages, he woody puffed out his chest and said proudly, "Don't you know who gave it to me?" Swoosh. Swoosh. Everyone sped forward like ghost. After walking for about a few dozen miles, they stopped on the hillside with their mouths agape. Because there was a natural depression in front of them, the sky was filled with extremely spectacular heaven and earth attributes. Zon. "Patriarch," the Black Rakshasa sent a telepathic message excitedly. "There really is a magnetite mine here." Chapter 1389. Baby. Jun Changshao said, "Thank you for your help." The system fell silent. The host has not encountered any danger since he came to find the magnetite vein. This is far from the dragon's lair and tiger's den described. He Woody will never be able to escape from the door, but will I never be able to escape from being slapped in the face? Jun Changshao took out the map again and compared the surroundings seriously. Finally, he confirmed that this was the place he was looking for. "That fellow didn't lie to me. I'm rich, I'm rich." Although he had never seen a mine in the upper realm, he had dug up quite a number of them in the lower realm. The gathering of such majestic heaven and earth attributes meant that there must be an extremely rich amount of magnetite underground. What Jun Changshao lacked the most now was money. If a mine could provide him with a large amount of resources, it would definitely be super awesome. Patriarch. The Black Rakshasa calmed down and said, "Could the people from Spirit Micro True Sect have discovered it too? The big guy fighting with it might be the demonic beast that was guarding the mine." "That's great." Jun Changshao said, "Let them restrain it. We'll fish in troubled waters." The Black Rakshasa's mouth twitched. If that was the case, what they were doing now was equivalent to snatching a mine from a truth-grade powerhouse. Exciting. Too exciting. "Let's go." Jun Changshao jumped down first, and the rest followed closely behind. Dense vegetation grew in the basin, and there were demon beasts of different strengths. However, due to the hidden cultivation technique, they did not discover any humans near the area with the densest heaven and earth attributes. Swoosh. Swoosh. After a while, Jun Changshao and the rest stopped at the central area. This was a relatively empty area. They could clearly see with the naked eye the majestic heaven and earth attributes surging up and gathering in the air in the form of mist. Patriarch. The Black Rakshasa concluded, "There must be a mine below. Swoosh! Swoosh! Jun Changshao waved his hands. Dozens of small flags flew out quickly and were inserted at the edge of the empty space, instantly forming an isolation formation. The Black Rakshasa was amazed by the smooth formation technique. With the Patriarch's understanding of formations, he would be considered a master in the upper realm, right? It had to be done. After nearly 10 years of research, all his hair had fallen off. His efforts had not been in vain. Moreover, after coming to the upper realm, he had also obtained an atlas related to formations from the old man in Taixien. After studying it carefully, his experience points could be said to have skyrocketed. It was undeniable that Jun Changshao had relied on the aptitude fluid to raise his level when he came into contact with the array Tao. But when it came to researching the heaven and earth seizing fortune array, he completely relied on himself. Don't overlook Gou Sheng's strengths, his perseverance, and Bah, I can't continue lying. After the formation was set up, everyone stopped suppressing their cultivation and began to dig in the open space with all kinds of spiritual energy. Jun Changshao had a clear division of labor. He and his disciples were in charge of digging the hole while the black and white Rakshasa were in charge of guarding it. If the people of Lingwei True Sect came, they had to hold them back or lure them away. This magnetite vein is mine for sure. Such heavenly treasures did not belong to whoever found them, but to whoever dug them out. No one could forcibly occupy it unless there was an absolute suppression of strength. With Gou Sheng's low-key personality, even if the immortal-level sects had their eyes on the vein, as long as he wanted it, he would definitely find a way to get it. There was no other way. Who asked my master to be Jinren Tonggu? Who asked me to have a backer that even the realm hall is afraid of? It could be seen that Gou Sheng was going deeper and deeper into the path of cheating his master. Although it was nothing for the time being, when all kinds of conflicts erupted, it would inevitably turn into a huge pot as heavy as Mount Tai. Whether Jinren Tonggu could carry it or not would depend on how strong his Taoist heart and strength were. Swoosh! Swoosh! Jun Changshao and his disciples worked together to dig. Under the many times acceleration, a huge hole about a few hundred feet deep appeared, just touching the rock layer on the surface of the vein. Patriarch! Xiao Ziji held a pure ore and said excitedly, "We've dug up a magnetite." Dig! Dig quickly! Yi Xingchen and He Wudi immediately dug in high spirits and broke the surrounding rock layer one after another, forming the shape of a hole. The scene that appeared in their field of vision was crystal clear magnetite half embedded in the soil. "Oh my God!" Xiao Ziji exclaimed, "So many." He Wudi said solemnly, "It has to be at least a medium-sized vein." Jun Changshao was wild with joy. "We're going to be rich." Patriarch. At that moment, the Black Rakshasa sent a voice transmission. "The people from Spirit Micro True Sect are here." Jun Changshao hurriedly said, "The isolation array will be discovered at a certain distance. Don't let them get close." "Yes." The Black Rakshasa and the Black Rakshasa exchanged glances, and a strong sense of excitement surged into their hearts. Then, they flew out from the dark and charged toward Spirit Micro True Sect with full cultivation. True-level sects had 6th refinement core experts. The two of them rarely provoked them when they roamed the pugilistic world. Now, for the sake of their sect, they naturally did not care. Back to the people of Spirit Micro True Sect. After dealing with the demon beasts guarding the vein, they rushed over at their fastest speed. One of the bearded men frowned. "Strange, why would anyone appear in this area?" The leading old man said, "Maybe itinerant cultivators who barged into the Demon King's cave and accidentally walked in." Fifth elder only shouted and scared them away. "They should be itinerant cultivators who barged into the forbidden area," someone said with a smile. The experts of Spirit Micro True Sect did not expect that not only did those cowards not leave, they were even brazenly digging the vein. Furthermore, because they had mining experience, they obtained the magnetite extremely quickly. Especially Jun Changshao, he released the earth of the 5 elements and established a connection with the soil. Magnetite fell off one after another. Xiao Ziji, who was in charge of storing them, was extremely busy running around. Ha ha ha. The middle-aged man laughed loudly. Judging from the heaven and earth attributes gathered in midair, this is at least a medium-sized vein that stores 1 billion magnetite. If we dig it all out, we can replenish the sect with many resources. If Go Sheng heard this, he would probably jump up in excitement. 1 billion. This might be a small goal in the eyes of the richest man, but in the eyes of an ordinary sect, it was definitely an astronomical figure. Whoosh! 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 Just as the experts of Spirit Micro True Sect were about to approach the basin, the black and white Rakshasas rushed out from another direction. Without any explanation, they gathered all kinds of true energy and launched an attack. Someone's here. Be on guard. More than 10 core reincarnation realm experts quickly gathered together. All kinds of martial arts and supreme treasures were revealed, dispersing all kinds of attacks. Swoosh! The black and white Rakshasas landed on a huge rock and said coldly, "I didn't expect to meet an enemy here." Enemy? The experts of Spirit Micro True Sect immediately realized that they had met an enemy. However, when they saw the other party's true appearance through the mask, they found them to be very unfamiliar. They could not help but wonder if their sect had offended these 2 6th Revolution Core Reincarnation Realm experts. They had not offended them. The black and white Rakshasas said this to divert their attention and not let them think about the vein. The 2 of you. Spirit Micro True Sect's 5th elder said coldly, "What enmity do we have?" More than 10 of them could deal with a 6th Revolution Core Reincarnation Realm demonic beast. They naturally did not fear the black and white Rakshasas. However, there was a vein here, and they did not want outsiders to know about it, so they could only avoid fighting. I'm afraid that everyone has forgotten what happened on Mount Yunwu. Cloud Mist Mountain. The 5th elder and the others were confused. Spirit Micro True Sect had been to this place 1,000 years ago, but none of them were involved, so they did not know what happened. Right. If they were present, how could they deceive them? The white Rakshasas said coldly, "It seems that you all have forgotten. I need to tell you what happened and let you understand what it means by, every injustice has its perpetrator, every debt has its debtor." He and the black Rakshasas only had one goal, to prevent the other party from getting close to the isolation formation and stall for time. The 5th elder was also worried that the 2 would discover the vein, so he tried his best to stabilize his emotions and prevent the situation from worsening. Thus, he cupped his fists and said, "I'm all ears." Damn! So cooperative. The white Rakshasas did not hold back, he said, "This matter started from half a month before we went to Cloud Mist Mountain. Stalling for time was the same as fighting in the pugilistic world, 1 chapter for fighting, 1 chapter for making a move, 1 chapter for using one's trump card." He had learned the essence of it. He spoke from half a month to the day of the incident, causing the experts of Spirit Micro True Sect to feel dizzy. Brothers. At this moment, Jun Changshao transmitted his voice, "We're done digging, retreat." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.